Super Dimension Interview. The opening interview with Thanos. Chapter 101. What are other worlds like? Funina was very curious. Yi Bai said, I'll show you. He opened his own panel. Only he could see the panel, but the images observed by the system could be projected. Host. Yi Bai. Activity level of this live broadcast, 100%. Activity level is 90%. Reward, crazy man and resentful woman. Note. Designate 2 living individuals, and the designated living individuals will immediately perform a heartbreaking and poignant love story, already received. Activity level 100%. Additional reward. Telekinesis level B, can move hundreds of tons of objects received. Worlds that can be visited. Marvel Universe, observable. Naruto, observable. Black Robe Picket, observable. Bleach, observable. Genshin Impact, observable. 3 Body Problem, observable. Complete an interview and unlock a new world. The film and television system, Justice League, close double angle bracket. Already have the abilities. B-level telekinesis, 27 space jumps, True Heart Dare Adventure, 100% empty-handed attack, King's Game, Supreme 1000 Techniques, Foolish Man and Hatred Girl. The same unorthodox skills as always, without lethality. But as long as it is exerted, it will definitely be very strong. Just like the King's Game, he has never thought that it can be developed to this extent before. Even a being like Zero can easily surrender to him. I can only say that Yi's power is so powerful. Bai believed in his prospects. Then Yi Bai opened the Naruto world and clicked on Uchiha Madara's name. A picture was projected of Uchiha Madara reading a manuscript, and then he threw it on the ground. What are you writing about? I have said that we need great unification, we must talk about the benefits of great unification, and we must make people really yearn for great unification. Kabuto Yakushi scratched his head and said, but, I'm just a ninja, I'm not good at this kind of thing. Madara Uchiha was furious, then let's find those great writers to write it. Kabuto Yakushi said helplessly, they are not willing to accept this kind of subject matter, saying that this kind of thinking is dangerous and will make the world chaotic. Uchiha Madara said coldly, short-sighted. Do you want me to teach you about this kind of thing? I put the knife on their necks, I don't believe they won't write it. Kabuto Yakushi said distressedly, how can you force such a thing? If you can't write it, you can't write it. Even if you kill them, you can't write it. Kill them. Suddenly Uchiha Madara's eyes lit up. I heard that you learned the reincarnation of dirty soil from Orochimaru. Find 2 dead literary giants and turn them around. I don't believe they don't write. Funina was shocked. Reincarnation from the dirt. Pulling the dead out to write. Isn't this too cruel? Seeing Uchiha Madara's operation, Yi Bai was so happy. Then Funina shook her head and said, it's ridiculous, it's so ridiculous. Next up is the Marvel Universe. Thanos actually drank wine dully. Yes, the universe will eventually collapse, and the infinite stones are given to Yi Bai again. No matter how smart I am, can I continue the civilization of this universe? Impossible. The universe also has its lifespan. So what's the point of all this I'm doing? At this time, Ebony Throat came in and said, Lord Thanos, those untouchables rebelled and said they wanted to overthrow you and put their prince on the throne. Thanos was furious. I'm here to save their civilization so that they are not satisfied with surviving well, and still want that stupid prince to lead them. They're out of their minds. Ebony Throat hesitated, and then said, they said they don't want to accept foreign rule. And the Asgard fleet has found us and chased us here. Thanos snorted. Odin, this old guy, really thinks I'm afraid of him. This time, destroy him. Look at those guys, did they dare to chase my ass? As for those rebels, find the prince, kill him, hang his head on the spaceship, then disarm the rebels and let them go home to work. That's it. Funina. He is still so scary. Did he really destroy half of the population of the universe in the original future? Yi Bai nodded. Yes, he succeeded. But later, the Avengers won again. Funina's eyes widened. I didn't understand. Yi Bai hugged her, told her the story of the Avengers, and put the observation object on Iron Man. Iron Man was proudly saying to Dr. Banner, see. It's not that I can't build a super robot without the Mind Stone. Before giving away the Mind Stone, I had recorded almost all of its data. Of course it's not perfect, but it's definitely enough for building robots. With the assistance of artificial intelligence, our technology will definitely develop rapidly. Use it to control the machine army. Even if Thanos suddenly goes crazy and attacks us one day, we will still be able to fight back. Dr. Banner said, "You still have to be careful with artificial intelligence." Iron Man said, "Of course, I have added more than 30,000 dynamic logic locks and update them at any time. It will definitely not be able to bypass the underlying logic I set for it. In one word, stable." These things came to mind while watching Bo Shizen chatting. It is said that he was originally a super robot. I am afraid no one knows artificial intelligence better than him. Yi Bai covered his forehead and said, "It's over, something is going to happen. It seems that there must be some world will in this world, otherwise why, after such a big turn, Iron Man still wants to create Ultron? What is Ultron? A super scary robot wants to destroy the world, let me tell you." The two of them were chatting and watching like a young couple watching a TV show. Suddenly Funina said, "You said you were a reporter, a host. Then you should have a newspaper office." Yi Bai was stunned. "No." Funina said, "How about I open a newspaper in Fontaine? Let's call it Super Dimension Newspaper. I will be the editor-in-chief and share the stories of other universes with the people of Fontaine. They will definitely be very interested." Yi Bai nodded and said, "Okay. With Fonina's current prestige, this matter can be done in one day." Afterwards, she followed Yi Bai to collect materials. The goal is Star Iron World, Immortal Boat and Luofu. The two of them appeared directly at the center of Xingchahai. The opposite side was surrounded by people all day long. Just listen to Mr. Shi Yan say. Luo Ji understood the laws of the dark forest, brought a shovel, dug his own grave, took out a gun and pointed it at his heart and said, "Three-body civilization, I only give you 30 seconds. Poof. Yi Bai almost spurted out a mouthful of old blood. What's going on? How did they know about Luo Ji? Yi Bai also heard the audience on one side talking, who said storytelling is an outdated thing. After watching Mr. Shi Yan's reinterpretation, you feel that it has a different flavor compared to watching Mr. Luo Ji's interview. Thank you Chong Letianjin. To be honest, Mr. Luo Ji reminded me of Di Gong. Di Gong's situation back then was very similar to his. Both faced unmatched enemies, were betrayed by everyone, and sacrificed everything to fight back with all their strength, against a civilization. That is to say, their world has no destiny. Otherwise, Luo Ji could be promoted to Star God. Don't exaggerate. If you ask me, who has a better chance of being promoted to Star God, it must be Ms. Funina. Keeping secrets for 500 years, deceiving the world for 500 years, and sticking to solitude for 500 years, just for a promise, just to save the world. Isn't this the ideal implementation to the extreme? Yi Bai's ears twitched. Do you still know about Funina? Chong Letianjin, aha, what on earth have you done? Then, he saw several fox girls whispering, that is Funina. Madam. So similar. So similar. No, it must be her. How could she come to Luofu? Didn't you see that next to her is Yi Bai, the host of Super Dimension Interview? Didn't the interview preview appear a few days ago? Here they come. I want Ms. Funina's autograph. I want, too. Together. Together. What's going on? What's going on? Then they really surrounded me. Funina couldn't figure out the situation, but she was able to handle this situation with ease. Oh, thank you for the welcome. But how do you know me? She signed while asking questions. It's Lord Chong Lishan. Chong Lishanjin, I sent your interview video to the whole universe. I watched it 3 times and cried 3 times. Really, I really don't understand how you can persist. I would have gone crazy in a few months. At this time, a voice suddenly rang out. I said, why is it so happy today? It turns out that there are distinguished guests coming. The little girl, Luofu, Tianbo Division's merchant group met Tingyun, the fairy envoy, and met the distinguished guests. The voice is charming, the figure is graceful, the long ears are shaking on the head, it is Tingyun. Yi Bai smiled and said, are you Miss Tingyun? Tingyun nodded and looked at Yi Bai with his big eyes. Unexpectedly, the host actually knows the little girl. Mr. Yi Bai really knows everything. Truth or dare, very good, it's Tingyun, not Wanyu. Yi Bai said. Then, what are you looking for me for? Tingyun said with a smile. The general just received your message, so he asked me to come and invite you immediately. The general is far away. At this moment, Jing Yuan's familiar voice sounded. Dear guest, what a distinguished guest. I'm here in Luofu, Jing Yuan, I've met Mr. Yi Bai. He rushed here like a ray of light, and stood still, seeing him so quickly. Jing Yuan, Yi Bai felt a sense of unreality. No, the one who is slow is Shenzhen, who cares about Jing Yuan. Jing Yuan's heart was in his throat. This is a character who can play with the star gods in applause. He puts Jing Yuan under great pressure just by standing in Luofu. Fortunately, Yi Bai has never been aggressive, otherwise, his heartbeat would have been faster. Behind Jing Yuan was a little girl wearing gorgeous purple clothes. The gems on her forehead were like eyes. She saluted Yi and Bai. Tebu Si, Fuzan has seen two distinguished guests. Funina said in courtesy. There was nothing wrong with her. She returned the greeting and then said curiously, the leader of your ferry boat. I noticed that your clothes are similar to those of Liu. Jing Yuan smiled and said, is this Mr. Zhongli's country? I also admire the god of Liu, Mr. Zhongli. If you are lucky enough to meet him and have a few drinks with him, it will definitely be a great pleasure in life. Funina said, you don't need to be so polite, we are just here to collect information. Jing Yuan, oh, do you want to use materials? That's just right, the scenery of Luofu is up to you to appreciate, and Fu Tebu can be your guide. Yi Bai asked, so, what is going on? Why do you know everything? Jing Yuan coughed lightly, it's Chong Letianjin. Every time you record an interview, he will send it to the entire universe. Therefore, Miss Funina is now a big star in our universe. Pinocchio. The Robin was going to say to his brother Sunday, you heard that Ms. Funina and the presenter came to our universe. Shall we invite Ms. Funina to attend this event? It is said that she is a very good dramatic actress. She should be enough to take the stage for me. My voice has recently. Sunday said. No need. Of course I also admire Ms. Funina, but he came with the host. That's not something we should mess with. At this time, Sunday suddenly heard a vague voice in his mind. Diaresis open corner bracket please. At that moment he felt like he was struck by lightning. That was the voice of the harmony. Except for Akivili and Aha, very few star gods are close to humans. The same is true for the Harmony star god ship, who directly issues orders to the people of his own faction like this time, and it was the first time in Sunday's life that he encountered it. In the void, Shipei's three heads spoke one after another, as if playing a mysterious movement. Phonina. Open up a path of destiny. Big universe. Harmony. Can it be played? Company. In the strategic investment department, 10 people with 10 hearts gathered together. Just because of the news that the host of the super-dimensional talk show came to this world. Sha Jin said, if we can reach a cooperation with the host, it will definitely be the greatest investment in history. Topa covered his forehead and said, you are still so radical. But I can't think of it. No how, okay, why does he want to cooperate with us? What does a being like him need from us? Sha Jin said, everyone has something he wants, and if he needs it, we can invest in him. Those things we have prepared, he will need it one day. Jade sighed. King Amber gave away his star hammer. What can we invest in such an existence? Don't be too fanciful, we are only human after all. Hearing this, everyone had a look of envy in their eyes. They had seen Yi Bai's excitement when he used the Amber King's giant hammer to repair the world in Tibet continent before. They have not felt that excitement until now. Calm down. It's a pity that such a weapon can't be used by them. And Ms. Funina's protective will is really admirable. San Jin said. No, you made a mistake. Although the host is scarier than the star god, he is different from the star god in that he is close to humans, stock. After a heated discussion, Sha Jin made an impassioned speech. The company could only become a company if Mr. Fleming seized the opportunity back then. And this is our only chance to expand the company's business to other universes. Finally, Diamond, the boss of 10 Hearts and 10 People, said, judging from the past interviews, we can give it a try. Although the host has unimaginable power, he is more human than the star god. This is indeed an opportunity, but you must be careful in grasping the risks involved. I would rather miss the opportunity than let the host have the slightest bit of hostility towards the company. Sha Jin played with the chips in his hand and said with a wry smile. No, in your eyes, am I that crazy? My plan is just normal contact and normal seeking of cooperation. Bellowberg. Hill looked at the pioneer Star Girl and said, are you leaving so soon? Star Girl gave a thumbs up. The pace of pioneering will never stop, the universe is calling us. March Chi on the side coughed lightly. Can you please speak human language? We are going to Shenzhou Luofu. Originally, we were going to Pinoconi, but the host of the super-dimensional talk show came to Shenzhou Luofu. This time he is going to interview the happy star god Aha. That is the star god 613. The live interview with the star god 613 will of course not be missed by our star train. Hill looked confused. Super-dimensional interview, what is that? Dan Heng said. By the way, you haven't restored communication between the universe yet. That is a very magical program. After Dan Heng finished his introduction, Zaire was shocked. Can the star god be interviewed? Even the Amber King's capital. Star Girl said, how about we go together? Hill was obviously interested, but in the end she shook her head and said, now Bellberg is busy, I don't have the time. March 7th said, it doesn't matter. I will broadcast it to you then. I hope we can find a good location and you can see us then. News of their departure spread quickly, and a group of old friends came to see them off. Sambo said, yeah, I heard that you are going to participate in that amazing talk show. Old Sambo also wants to go. Xingmei looked at him suspiciously and said, I won't agree to your hitchhiking. I'm afraid you'll carry the Star Dome train away. Sambo. Clara said, have a safe journey, Clara will bless you. Star Girl bent down and held Hook's face. What? The Dark Lord Hook stopped talking. Hook snorted, broke away from Xingmei's little hand, and lowered his head. Xingmei smiled slightly, everyone waved, and then the three of them left. They had not taken a few steps when suddenly Hook rushed out, put his hands to his mouth and shouted loudly, honorary team members, you must come back to see us. After saying that, I burst into tears. At that moment, the hearts of the three of them melted. On the train, GZ saw this scene and said, it seems that they have gained a lot this time. Next, it depends on whether we can seize this opportunity. Walter said, what opportunity? Jizzy smiled and said, don't you look forward to the opportunity to open up other universes, Walter? Maybe this will give you a chance to return to your hometown. Walter was silent for a moment. I don't know. Liang said, it's really a big scene. As far as I know, how many factions have rushed to Shenzhou Luofu? The Starry Sky train has also gone. Now, no need to bother anymore. Kafka sighed. But then, Elio, your script has been disrupted. I don't think people who are destroyed under such circumstances would dare to go to Luofu to cause trouble. They are just madmen, not fools. Elio's voice sounded. This is interesting, isn't it? An unexpected plot, unexpected twists, and a completely unexpected ending are the best scripts. Liang was a little worried. In this case, final outcome. Elio smiled and said, why are you confused? No, you are not confused, you are too worried. But there's no use worrying. When the host appeared, all fate had been disrupted. No one can see Xing's ending now, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Come on, let's go to Luofu too. This time, you can see the stars in advance. Blade refreshed. Luofu is very good. But, Elio said, this is an opportunity to observe the star god up close, and even observe the existence beyond the star god up close. No matter what, don't miss it. Silver Wolf, why are you so silent? The bubble gum in Silver Wolf's mouth smeared on his face. I was wondering how the host did it. I can also make people move in space, but I just moved a grain of sand on a table. The host threw a mountain into the sun. I'm really curious. Elio, Silver Wolf, put away your curiosity. Having such curiosity about such a being is devastating. Even if he doesn't care about you, if you just hang around him, you may be gone. Just like the ants hanging around the tiger will trample you to death without even knowing it. Tavern. A group of masked fishermen were bragging and drinking. Hanabi said, it's great. This is an unprecedented interview with the star god, and it's also the god of fun. I seem to have seen the expression on Lizician's face when he was bullied by the host until he cried. All the masked fools laughed. Yes, I'm really looking forward to it. Aha, I was bullied to the point of crying. Aha, I'm so embarrassed. This is so fun. How can we be called the masked fool if we don't cheat on this once in a lifetime opportunity? No, if we help the god of fun, how can we be called the masked fool? Go together, go together, how can such a grand event be without us? Give the god of fun, have a great time. Yes, believers enjoy are so crazy. For fun, they even want to cheat their own gods. As for their own life and death, no one cares about them. In the sea of stars. Huang Quan looked at the messages on her phone. The image of Yi Bai was so clear in her mind. All memories are disappearing, everything is being forgotten, but this figure is so distinct. Just the memory of him can resist the devouring of nothingness. Shenzhou Luofu, it seems that I have to change the route. Marshal, you are finally here. Jing Yuan stood at the gate of Luofu and welcomed a woman. Her clothes were still the characteristics of Shenzhou, mainly black and white, and the hem of her clothes looked like flying wings. She looked very intellectual, like a teacher, but there is a decisive and heroic look in his eyes. That is Marshal Yunqi Hua. Behind Hua, there are two women, one with a temperament as gentle as the Jiangnan water town, and the other as energetic as the rising sun. He introduced. This is Ms. Ruan Mei, and this is Li Susheng, a new recruit of Yunqi. This is General Jingyuan. The famous Ms. Ruan Mei is also here, it's only natural. Jing Yuan sighed, and both parties greeted each other. Hua said to Li Susheng, Susheng, you can move around freely. Li Susheng left happily. She originally came here to report on her work, but ended up hitching a ride with Marshal Hua. I really didn't expect Marshal Hua to be such a kind person, I thought he would be very strict. Ruan Mei said, you too, I'll take my leave first. I want to see the scenery of Luofu. I haven't been to Luofu for many years. After that, she left directly. Jing Yuan smiled bitterly and said, it's causing trouble to Marshal. Marshal Hua said, it doesn't matter. I originally wanted to see the star god up close and the man who could interview the star god. I'm afraid there won't be another one in my lifetime. Second chance. Then she asked with some confusion, how did it become like this? Jing Yuan said distressed. Originally, Mr. Yi said that he and Miss Funina came to Luofu to collect information. Because they are planning to run a super-dimensional daily newspaper in Teyvat to introduce interesting things happening in other universes. Then for some reason word came out that Mr. Yi was going to interview Mr. Chong Lishan here, and then the situation suddenly got out of control. I don't know how many factions have flocked to Luofu. It's impossible for me to say at this time, let Mr. Yi move to another place, right? Although he hasn't said where he will do the interview yet. Hua sighed. I know your worries. Judging from Mr. Yi's style, he definitely has no ill intentions towards us. But the mere existence of such a character can put tremendous pressure on us. As long as nothing unexpected happens. She came here just to be a local. She was not worried that Yi Bai had any ill intentions towards Luofu, but she was mainly worried that someone would target Yi Bai and drag Luofu into trouble. Jing Yuan said, I saved it. Originally I was planning to go fishing, but during this time I suppressed all those guys who were secretly there. There are also those outsiders who want to cause trouble, and the nether prison can hardly contain them. These have no idea what they are thinking in their heads. Marshal Hua asked. Then, what is Mr. Yi doing? Jing Yuan also had a puzzled look on his face. Originally, he said he was here to collect information, but in the past 2 days, he seems to have been playing cards. Marshal Hua. Xiao Guizi. Su Shang, why did you come so early? Didn't you say you had to wait a few days? I hitched a ride with Marshal Hua. Hua. Marshal Hua. What kind of person is she? It was very good. He also taught me swordsmanship. I feel that I have made great progress. Li Susheng looked at Gui Nathan suspiciously. What are you planning to do? Gui Nathan said nervously. I'm waiting for Mr. Yi Bai to show up, and I'm going to take a photo with him as a souvenir. Put it on my homepage. I will definitely become famous. Look, Mr. Yi is coming. Look at how ethereal and profound his eyes are, as if he is thinking about the ultimate meaning of the universe. Su Shang, here we go. Li Susheng was shocked. No, Xiao Guizi, won't we be beaten to death like this? The star god has already said that he is a greater existence than the star god. Gui Nathan said excitedly. Don't believe those rumors. Mr. Yi Bai is a very nice person. Yi Bai shut down the system. Just now he was observing the locations of the star gods. He is now equipped with so many gifts from the star gods, and he can fully control each one. Without skills, the only person in this universe who can threaten him is the star gods. Using his skills, he is invincible. The star gods have a destiny and a source of motivation, and the direction of their work is generally traceable. There should be no star gods who would take action against themselves. But be careful, Yi Bai often uses the system to observe their current positions. He saw several star gods rushing here, but they were still relatively far away. I thought that the star gods could appear anywhere in this universe at will. After all, they could take a look at the people they were interested in at any time, but it seems that is not possible. They could only take a look. That's right, otherwise the hunting expedition wouldn't have had to hunt down Feng Feng for so many years, and it wouldn't have been so troublesome to destroy the world. Around his waist hung a round ball with stars shining inside. The astral computer that Bo Shizun rewarded him with was not only high-tech but also blessed with mysterious power. It could be worn as an ornament on his body. Yi Bai had previously exchanged data with Bo Shizun, and used this to modify the theoretical formula of zero returner, and then it became a success. In this world, Yi Bai's mind also has the ability to control the microscopic world. He raised his hand. Small flames, lightning, and frost appeared one after another, and finally turned into a leaf, and the leaf turned into a bird, then fluttered its wings and flew away. It flew into the sky and turned into a clever bird of crane logistics, joining the logistics sequence. Gui Nathan's eyes shone brightly. What a powerful magic trick. If I learn it, I will definitely become popular. I have decided that I want to become a disciple. She was about to rush out. At this time, a gentle female voice sounded. The random manipulation of the microscopic world without any trace. Amazing skills, amazing skills. Mr. Yi Bai, is this the power that belongs to the Creator? Yi Bai turned to look at the gentle woman and said with a smile, Ms. Ruan Mei, this is not a creation. This is just an arrangement and combination of some microscopic particles. Real creation, I think, should come out of nothing. Ruan Mei had a puzzled look on her face. Creating something out of nothing. How could it be possible to create something out of nothing? Yi Bai spread his hands. I don't know, I want to know, I am the creator. Ruan Mei tilted her head and said sincerely, You, aren't you? Yi Bai said, I am just a host and reporter, if you want to discuss some scientific knowledge with me, but I can't. All the things I have learned have been returned to the teacher. Ruan Mei didn't believe this. She asked doubtfully, Then, have you ever met the creator of this world? Or, is there a creator in this world? Yi Bai thought for a while. Creators. I should have seen them, but I'm not sure whether they should be considered the creators of this world, even though they created it. He had only seen the game world before, but this world was so real. Even a passerby has his own life and thoughts, and is not an NPC who only knows a few lines in the game. What is the connection between the game world and the real world? It's hard to say. I should be able to solve this mystery one day. Gui Nathan and Li Susheng on the side trembled. Li Susheng said with a pale face, Did you hear what they were talking about? Can we get involved in this kind of topic? If you interrupt them, you will be turned into a clever bird, right? Not wanting to, Yi Bai waved to the two of them. Xiao Guizi, Miss Susheng, hello. At this time, Gui Nathan mustered up the courage. Yi. Bye, sir, you know me. I. Can I take a photo with you? Yi Bai said, Of course. Then he walked over, the three guys got together and made a gesture. Then Yi Bai waved goodbye to the three of them and walked forward. General Qingqueching, Master Tebu and Funina were waiting for him in front. Yes, it was a card game. Noon. Yi Bai was very happy. The system's skills were indeed ridiculously strong. B-level telekinesis, capable of moving 100 tons of weapons, looks average compared to those capable of destroying heaven and earth. But I thought wrongly, this is the absolute mastery of these 100 tons of objects, including moving them microscopically, but that is more difficult. Using telekinesis, Yi-Bai can do more than just do the same juggling thing as before. We can go one step further, such as manipulating this 100-ton object to perform heavy nuclear fusion, converting all mass into energy. You know, the first black bomb in human history, little boy, was only 64 kilograms of uranium, and this energy the conversion rate is quite average. Yi-Bai felt terrible just thinking about how powerful these 100 tons of mass could be converted into energy. He feels that if this continues, it won't be long before he can do it without the assistance of these supercomputers, even in other universes. I'm just a reporter, host, you actually gave me such a terrifying and lethal skill. Why is this happening again? Ching Ke looked at Yi-Bai desperately, why are you doing everything wrong? Are you out of luck? Others also looked at Yi-Bai. Inexplicably, Xiao Guizi, Li Susheng, and Ruan Mei also joined the game. Yi-Bai brought a new way of playing, so many people can play his hometown mahjong, a bloody battle to the end. The gameplay is novel and Chink likes it very much. But losing every time was unbearable. Fu Zan also felt that Yi-Bai must be rich. How could you, a great being like you, play cards with us? Want some face? All my savings over the years have been lost. I am entertaining the distinguished guests, will Jingyuan reimburse me? Yi-Bai shook his head and said, no, absolutely not. If you haven't been discovered, what's the point of being out of luck? Funina rolled her eyes at him. Chu Qian, don't be so blatant, it's too much, I can hardly stand it anymore. By the way, I'm here to collect information. I play like this every day. What should I write when I go back to Fontaine? Open double angle bracket my days playing cards on the supership close double angle bracket. Open double angle bracket bird god close double angle bracket. Open double angle bracket shocked, the hero who saved Tevat was openly cheating close double angle bracket. Ching Ke silently put away his card table. I won't play anymore. From today on, I will study hard, work hard, and never play cards again. I, Chink, can no longer degenerate like this. Yi-Bai gave a thumbs up. Okay. On the second day, Chink said, Mr. Yi-Bai, do you want to have another bloody battle to the end? Yi-Bai, okay. Funina, where are the materials we agreed on? We can collect materials any day, but in a few days, no one will be willing to play cards with us. It's not us, it's you. Do you want to play or not? Play. Yi-Bai and Fufu's life in Shenzhou is so simple and unpretentious. Seeing this scene, Marshal Hua silently turned off the surveillance camera and said to Jing Yuan, these poor children have lost all their wages, give them some compensation. Tieba. I finally found out, this is a god trying hard to look like a human being. As long as no one forces him to show his divine side, he will definitely not threaten Xian Zhou. Hi, dear viewers, I am your old friend, Yi-Bai, and this time the interview show has finally started again. The live broadcast room opened, and then turned into a light curtain, and a group of viewers entered the live broadcast room. Everyone in this world knows that. There are two types of audiences during Yi-Bai's interview. One can enter the live broadcast room to speak, and the other is everyone in this world cannot speak in the comment area. When he goes to other worlds to live broadcast, only the audience can see it. At this time, a huge creature appears in the light curtain. The shadows wrapped in countless huge masks were suspended outside the ferry boat, and their size was even larger than the entire ferry boat. Then his figure began to shrink, turning into a clown, and suddenly appeared next to Yi-Bai. He held Yi-Bai's hand excitedly. Host, you finally came to interview me. I've been waiting for a long time. In your prison. Someone said with panda eyes, if the god of fun sees us like this, he will definitely laugh his big teeth off. A group of masked fools walked into the ferry boat Luofu and wanted to dig a big hole for Aha. As a result, they were reported in an email. As soon as they entered, they were blocked by Marshal Hua, who beat them all into panda eyes with a pair of iron fists. Hanabiduo smiled with two black circles on his head, showing his bare front teeth. Are you stupid? No need to think about it, except God of Music, who would easily find out the whereabouts of all of us and then report us. Hearing this, these masked fools not only didn't get angry, but laughed. The God of Fun played so well. He even plays tricks on his own followers, he is worthy of being a god of fun. King of Angels Kesha. What a huge spaceship. Is this the world where the star gods live? After the last live broadcast, she found Tianji King Hechi, and the two of them studied the teleportation of the universe mentioned by Zero. She found that in her own world, it is theoretically feasible, but she still lacks computing power. This is not number matter what, just burn a few more suns. Within a month, they will definitely be able to do it. Wisdom star god Bo Shizan. In fact, it is bigger inside. The Shenzhou uses cave technology, and the interior of a starship is no different than a planet. Not much. Not only did he chat in the comment area, but he also looked online and collected all the relevant data. He had even exchanged information with Yi Bai before and obtained the data on the Trisolaran world, which made him very satisfied. Iron Man. This technology is really amazing. Zhongli. Oh. The cave technique has the same name as Liu's immortal technique, but the immortal technique can't be so big or powerful yet. 0. Using space technology to expand the internal space of the spacecraft is the use of small world technology. It's amazing. I see new ideas again. Madara Uchiha. Can anyone write a novel about the unity of the world? Old viewers expressed their opinions. This new world is amazing. Yi Bai said to Aha. Thank you for supporting my work. By the way, this program is funded and supported by Mr. San Jin from the company's strategic investment department. Everyone is confused now. Is this for advertising? Are you going to bring goods next time? People in the audience. 10 people in the strategic investment department are all looking at Placer Gold. Topa couldn't help but ask, how did you do it? What did you use to impress him? Sha Jin said, how could I possibly impress him? He didn't register an account. I just sent an email, asked him if he would accept our advertising, and he agreed. It went so smoothly that I couldn't believe it myself. Diamond said, I finally understand. Mr. Yi Bai is a great being who tries hard to disguise himself as a normal person. If we deal with him in a normal way, there will be no problem. People from various factions stared at Aha in the live broadcast room, as if they wanted to remember his appearance so as not to be tricked by him in the future. But then they shook their heads, remembering it is useless. Every time he blends into human beings among them, there will be brand new faces. Walter said to GZ, have you ever contacted this Mr. Yi? GZ said, I sent an email, but he replied to me. He said that after the interview on this issue, you can chat with me. Walter pushed up his glasses in shock. There really is such a human like 2.2 God. GZ 2.2 spread her hands, saying that I didn't create this problem either. March 7th touched Xing Mei's arm. Do you think that's a star core hunter over there? That robot keeps staring at you, so fierce and a bit scary. This time Dan Heng was looking after the house, and they all came. Xing Mei saw Kafka and nodded. Yes. March 7th said, aren't they wanted criminals? How can you sit here so arrogantly? Walter said, I asked around before, and I heard that this time it is because there are too many factions. The ferry boat is not allowed to enter, and it is impossible to control it. As long as they don't cause trouble, then we won't care about it for the time being. It is said that a group of common writers who wanted to cause trouble before suffered a big loss. Yun Qizhan is very nervous now. At this time, Yi Bai asked his first question, Mr. Aha, I have a question that I have always been curious about. Did you plan the locust plague in the world? Aha nodded. Yes, you are right. I did everything. For a moment, the whole place was silent. What Yi Bai wanted to interview this time was about the locust plague in the world. That grand war stretched over 2/3 of the living area of this universe, with several star gods participating, and even the death of star gods. Yi Bai actually has very little information in this regard. In the original game, there was only some fairly obscure text. He spent a lot of effort to convert these texts into images, and then these images became pictures of the real war. This made him feel that the work he was doing was like making an index, and then the system found the corresponding real pictures in history and the future. Extremely magical. When Yi Bai asked this question, the scene was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. They didn't expect Yi Bai's first question to be so explosive. Ordinary people in this universe may not know about the global locust plague. After all, it has been so long, but no one who can sit here and watch the interview doesn't know about it. But even to them, it was just a distant legend. Now, They seemed to have a chance to glimpse the truth of the legend. This made many people very excited. Ruan Mei's calm eyes fluctuated slightly. I didn't expect that this was the case. Originally, I wanted to create corresponding events in the simulated universe to deduce the truth. Haida on her side said, "You are actually right. Are you interested in this matter?" Haida is also here, this time it's not a doll, but a real person. Of course Black Tower had seen the star god, but she still didn't want to miss a great being interviewing a star god, she wanted to see it with her own eyes. Ruan Mei said, "This matter involves the birth of the star god and the fall of the star god. Isn't it worth exploring?" Haida smiled softly and said nothing. Although she had only communicated with Ruan Mei during these experiments and had no personal relationship in the past, she knew how crazy this woman was under her gentle appearance. Haida looked at Yi Bai and asked again, "I heard that you have been playing cards with the host these 2 days. Have you got any idea of what kind of existence he is?" Ruan Mei shook her head and said, "No, I tried every means, but no matter which angle I looked at, he was just an ordinary person. An ordinary person who can ignore everything, manipulate the world at will, create all things, and decompose all things." Black Tower was not surprised. It was normal for such an existence to be invisible. But what Yi Bai could do made her speechless. Can you actually do it to this extent? This is simply the creator. Ruan Mei said. He's saying that he is not, he said that the true creator must be able to create something out of nothing. Black Tower. Even a genius like her cannot imagine what it means to create something out of nothing. Was the universe created out of nothing? This is too outrageous. Then everyone heard Aha's admission. Surprisingly, no one was shocked, because it was Aha, and what he said has extremely low credibility. In a dark prison, Sambo with panda eyes said, "I bet that the god of music is cheating again." Hanabi smiled. How could the god of music be cheating so obviously? It might really be him, but he wants to use his own admission to let others think it is not his way to fool the world. Sambo rubbed his face. I think you want to use such words to fool me. What does this have to do with me? I didn't want to get together with you, but I got beaten up by that martial Hua. Her fists are too heavy. How can she open the sky with such force? Let's open her head. Giovanni said. I don't believe what you say. Why do you think Marshal Hua would believe it? At this time, Yi Bai saw Aha stand up and then do 3 somersaults in the air. Truth or dare, so he knew that Aha's words were nonsense. Aha was stunned for a long time, looking at Yi Bai in horror, and then laughed loudly. I see, that's it. Can't I tell lies in front of you? This can. It's really great. What joy would it be if you could lie to someone who couldn't tell lies in front of him? At this moment, Aha was extremely excited. King of Angels Kesha. The locust plague in the world sounds a bit scary, but what is that? Uchiha Madara. It sounds like a group of insects, like locusts. The locust plague is very scary. Iron Man. For an interstellar civilization that has stepped into the universe, what kind of disaster can bugs be? Luo Ji. I really envy their universe. There are so many civilizations and so many different people can sit together and chat without having to think about killing each other with a shot. Tianli. The disaster that the host calls a locust plague is probably beyond my imagination. Aizen. It's hard for me to imagine how scary bugs can be. Could it be that intelligence has evolved? If that's the case, it can no longer be called a bug, right? It should be another kind of intelligent life. He has learned a lot these days. At this time, Yi Bai projected a light curtain. It was an endless starry sky, and there was a nebula shining with shimmering light in the starry sky. Then, the lens zoomed in. That was not a nebula, but a nebula. Huge and ferocious bugs were flying densely in the starry sky. Wherever they went, the green planets withered, and then the shapes of those planets began to change, turning into something like a honeycomb. It even seemed to be alive, and it began to spit out countless dense insects. Everyone's scalp was numb when they saw it. There were too many. How many were they? They almost filled the starry sky, and even the starlight in the universe was covered by them. Blocked. At this time, a beautiful song sounded in the void. The sound made people want to get close to it and explore it. Then an abyssal mouth suddenly appeared. No one knew where it came from. But the terrifying and ferocious mouthparts made it almost impossible for everyone to breathe. Just seeing it made their heads hurt. The abyss giant. 343 opened its mouth and swallowed up the endless insects in the starry sky. Even the planets that had been turned into insect nests were swallowed up by it. Even though the mouth of the abyss was big enough, it was pitifully small compared to the swarm of insects that filled the starry sky. No one understood why it could swallow so many insects in one go. Then the abyss mouth was recovered, and the audience saw the owner of the abyss mouth. Everyone guessed that it was a certain star god. She is a graceful human woman, with a slightly primitive and wild decoration. Her headdress looks like horns, and her body has patterns, just like the tattoos of priests in the wild era. She has a strange beauty. Her lower body is covered with countless ferocious beasts. The twisted, criss-crossed, terrifying abyss mouth. At this time, among the sparse swarm of insects, people saw another huge figure. In terms of size, he was not weaker than the abyss mouth, and his image was even more bizarre. The upper body looks like a male, but the head looks like a heart-shaped tentacle, and the lower body looks like a ferocious insect. The picture is frozen here. This is a part of the global locust plague that year. It was a war that swept 2/3 of the living areas of the universe. One of these two is the breeding star god who caused the locust plague in the world, the Sand King Uros. The other one is the gluttonous star god Obolos. The terrifying war that stretches for countless galaxies and light years, the terrifying insect swarms that can even block the light of stars, and the gluttonous gluttons that keep devouring everything, eating planets and endless insect swarms like desserts. I don't know how many the well-informed Fate Walkers looked at each other with shame. This is like a nightmare that only appears in the scariest stories. Some of them have seen the remaining insects from the global locust plague, but they are simply incomparable to their peak period. Not only them, but even the nullifiers, the top civilization in other universes, were shocked. He saw something quite different in those insect swarms. He had previously seen a civilization on a planet fighting against bugs. Those huge insects vibrated their wings, and the powder on their wings flew. I don't know how many people fell into a trance temporarily and were easily hunted. This is normal, probably just neurotoxins secreted by some bugs. In addition, these bugs have a hard shell. Enough to withstand energy weapon attacks. Their spiky mouthparts and extremely hard blade-like joints can even tear open the outer shell of a spacecraft. The highly corrosive venom they emit can also corrode spacecraft. What's even more terrifying is that the spores they release have strong infection capabilities and can infect living things, even non-living spacecrafts, infecting the Earth, weaving a layer of fungus carpet on the Earth, making the Earth seem to have become a living thing. At this time, a bright light flashed, and it was obvious that this civilization had launched a large-scale weapon of destruction. After the strong light passed, countless bugs were evaporated, but some bugs survived by luck. Those seriously injured bugs are healing rapidly, growing harder shells and joints, secreting more infectious spores, and spewing more corrosive venom. This terrifying evolutionary ability is astonishing, but it is still acceptable to Zero. However, they began to reproduce rapidly and soon grew a large group. It's so fast, it's so fast that it doesn't even look like reproduction, it's a bit like copying and pasting in a computer. And this scene didn't happen in one place, it happened everywhere on this planet. Even the number of bugs completely exceeds the amount of materials they consume on this planet. They are not powerful individually, but their evolutionary speed violates the laws of nature, and their proliferation seems to violate the conservation of mass and energy. The speed of evolution is really disappointing. At that moment, the Zero Returner finally understood what an insect plague is. Is this terrifying speed of evolution and replication the so-called power of destiny? At this terrifying speed, they can't kill them. How long will it take to eat up the entire universe? Zero has never thought that when the number of bugs is close to infinite, it will be so terrifying. Uchiha Madara. Oh my god, such a monster. How could he be born so fast? Iron Man. What gave birth to them is the breeding star god, or this is the power of the destiny mentioned by the star gods before, allowing them to achieve such a terrifying breeding speed and evolution speed. I did a little calculation and found that if this reproduction rate does not decrease, they will be able to eat up a whole universe in less than 20 million years. Aizen. I seem to understand a little bit. This destiny seems to give a certain concept a certain special rule. I don't quite understand it, but that's how I feel. King of Angels Kesha. I have also estimated that their growth rate may even violate the law of conservation of mass and energy. This is too outrageous. Zhongli, can they really continue to grow like this endlessly? Yi Bai said. If the breeding star god is not dead, yes. Then, he looked at Aha, who was looking at it with great interest. Aha said. I admit, I didn't do this. This is not fun. If the universe is screwed up, there will be no place to find fun. Yi Bai said. I know you are telling the truth, but it's still a little strange. Let's see again. The picture above changed. It was a wild planet with countless bugs and humans on it. Two groups of humans are driving bugs to fight against bugs, and humans against humans are also fighting against each other. The corpses of people and insects were intertwined, and the ground seemed to have turned into a huge meat grinder, so bloody that people couldn't bear to look at it. Suddenly, the bugs that were controlled to fight suddenly gave up the fight and began to flee. At the same time, they began to reproduce crazily. Then a bug with a different shape suddenly flew out from the broken bug corpses on the ground, and then soaring into the sky, he actually flew directly out of the planet's atmosphere. Then its body began to change. After an unknown amount of time, it finally transformed into the form of a breeding star god. When the breeding star god flew into the sky, a huge eye vaguely appeared in the sky. At the same time, there seemed to be a burst of laughter on the battlefield. The picture freezes again. Yi Bai said, when the breeding star god was born, I heard your laughter. Is it such a coincidence? Aha smiled proudly. After all, there are so many fun things in this world. I saw that I just want to laugh. Yi Bai said again, as a witness to this horrific disaster, can you tell us whether the breeding star god was born naturally or was it controlled by someone behind the scenes? Aha said, natural birth of course. Then, he gently raised his hands and put a cross on his chest. Okay, it's another lie. Aha laughed and said, diaresis open corner bracket diaresis open corner bracket I told the truth this time. Why is it still like this? Yi Bai shook his head. He believed in the ability of the system even more. Aha said, you know what happened before the birth of the breeding star god, and what exactly destroyed his birth. Then you should know that this is definitely a natural birth. Yi Bai said, okay, let's take a look. The picture changed again. It was still the same planet as before, and there were still countless bugs on it, but it was full of green water, not the terrifying flesh and blood millstone at all. Several spaceships landed on this planet. A cheerful and heroic man led as his soldiers stepped off the spacecraft. He said, I will conquer this place, I will kill all these disgusting bugs, and build a huge civilization here. I have deciphered that nonsense, it is a revelation from God. God told me that by launching conquests and establishing civilization, I would eventually regain my lost self. Then he turned to look at a soldier and asked doubtfully, who are you? Opening parenthesis. The soldier said depressedly, I was the one who promoted you to the guard 3 days ago, General. Seeing this, Huang Quan clenched the knife in his hand and murmured, this is a self-destructor like me, and is constantly losing his memory. But where did the gibbering he heard come from? Could it be nothingness? Is the mastermind behind this? Impossible, it never glances at anyone or speaks to anyone. At this time, Yi Bai said, it was the massacre of him and another group of bounty hunters on this planet that led to the breeding of saliva. The gibberish he said must be the ravings of the final star god. It is possible that the final star god is the driving force behind it. Therefore, breeding star gods is not a natural birth. Aha shook his head and said, no, the end is a creature that goes against time. It goes from our future to the past. His brain is not normal, so he keeps talking about things that will happen in the future. What he said was only what he saw in the future, not what he caused. Zanjin. The last star god and the last king, Jilagulu Jilagulu. Iron Man. No, what on earth did you say? I've played your words upside down several times, but I still don't understand. Thanos. A god who travels against time. What kind of weird thing is this world of yours? All right. Aizen. I'm a little confused. Why does this exist? So what is the essence of time? Master Gu Yi. The essence of time is like a river. You can change the direction of the water, but eventually it will merge into the sea, so the fate can change slightly, but the final outcome will not change. If it really is a creature that travels against time, then it shouldn't be able to communicate with us. Because the timelines are different. But it's amazing that he can actually speak in the comments section. As the owner of the time stone, she has a clear understanding of the nature of time. Zhongli can go against time. Does that mean that everything in this world is doomed and there is nothing we can do to change it? Queen of Solstice, isn't our world also like this? Heavenly principles. It's not over, right? Metkai. Is there such a thing? Saying 723 like this doesn't mean that all 723 efforts are meaningless. Your life has been doomed since birth. I cannot accept this statement at all. Kakashi. You actually think of this. Kurosaki Ichigo. I hate fate the most. He thought about his life experience being exposed by Yi Bai, and he always felt that everything had been arranged long ago, which made him very unhappy. Luo Ji. I heard that there are carbon-based organisms and silicon-based organisms in our universe. Planetary creatures, magnetic field creatures, energy creatures, and even space creatures. Is there a possibility that the final star god is actually a time creature? Haida looked at this comment and said, these people from other universes are not bound by our knowledge, and their ideas are very bold. Assuming that time is a kind of matter or energy, then it is normal that it can form a living thing, right? Ruan Mei said, I have always believed that time is a way for humans to understand the changes in the world. It is a concept created by us, and the star god is originally a conceptual creature, so the possibility that the final star god is a time creature is very high. I have been studying that simulated universe for so long, and I have gained more than listening to the interview here today. Scrugum said, Logic 1. Time is a change in the material world. Logic 2. Change requires energy. Conclusion 1. Time is a special kind of energy, which is possible. Conclusion 2. It is possible that the final star god is a creature of time. Kafka looked at Elio. Is your script because you interpreted the ravings of the final star god? But I never thought you were a herald of evil omen or a mourner. Could it be that you are the final star god of the future? The two factions she mentioned belong to the final star god. Elio's mouth twitched. You still think too much. All these remarks were heard by Yi Bai one by one, and he had an interesting idea. Yi Bai said, then we might as well invite the parties involved to talk about this matter face to face. He opened the panel and selected the guest, the final star god. The next moment, the immortal boat Luofu, which was flying in the universe, suddenly started to vibrate. It seemed to be caught in some vortex. Sometimes it moves forward, sometimes it moves backward, and it is completely incapable of independence. Fu Zan, who was guarding the poor viewing formation, widened his eyes. Time is messed up. Soon, a strange and huge creature like a planet appeared outside the immortal boat Luofu. He is like a human figure formed by the convergence of long winding rivers, and various doomsday scenes are staged in the long river. Then, he transformed into a decadent middle-aged man and walked into the live broadcast room. He lit a cigarette from nowhere, looked at Yi Bai and said in shock, it's such an unimaginable power that it can actually adjust the timeline of me and the world like this. Aha puffed out, and then laughed, are you the Mo King? Why are you so decadent? The Mo King rolled his eyes at him, if you knew what I saw on the day I was born, you would be like me. Aha laughed. Haha, don't worry, Aha will never make you sad, Aha will always bring you happiness. Why don't you tell me what makes you unhappy and make me happy, at this time? After receiving Fu Zan's warning, Marshal Hua and Jing Yuan's faces turned as ugly as a blank sheet of paper. That is the last star god and the last king, which itself represents disaster and the end. As a result, he was invited to the ferry boat by Yi Bai, and his presence caused the turbulence of time. Luofu was really unlucky when he met Yi Bai, an unlucky guy. This time, there were also the forerunners of the omen and the funeral guests who came to watch the interview. When they saw their god, they were so excited that they wanted to worship him. The god of the end star ignored them. I want to make it clear that I never wanted to bring disaster and pain to this world. I have seen the last look of the world. I am salivating at the end of the universe. So every time I meet someone, I will warn them that a disaster is about to happen, to prevent it. But they never understand me. Their self-righteous behavior always leads to disaster. What can I do? I'm desperate too. Hearing this, the forerunners of the omen and the funeral guests were also in despair. This is completely different from the last king they imagined. Why are you such a chatterbox? But think about it, if you come out of the apocalypse of loneliness, you have talked to many people, no one understands what you say, and now you can suddenly communicate normally, you can talk more. But the most important thing is that the last king's words are completely different from their understanding of destiny. Why do we also become destiny messengers? The final star god continued. I haven't reached that past yet, I don't know what happened, but one thing is absolutely certain, I am not the mastermind behind it. When breeding, there is a pair of huge eyes in the sky. They are the one of order. At this time, he has been swallowed by Shipei, but when I meet him in your past, I will tell him everything and ask him to be careful and not make the same mistake again. These words make many people feel like their brains are beginning to itch, as if they want to grow brains. DC Universe. Batman and Wonder Woman looked at the interview with solemn expressions. Previously, because Luthor used General Zod's body to create Doomsday, Superman died in order to kill Doomsday. The two of them also discovered information from the information left by Luthor that foreign enemies were about to invade. The two formed an alliance and began looking for teammates. At this moment, an interview preview appeared in front of them. At that time, Batman was facing a powerful enemy and thought it was caused by the unknown enemy. The two of them are actively preparing for the battle. But I didn't expect that when the time came, the interview would really start, and what kind of god would be interviewed. Then there is the doomsday-like scene of the universal disaster. Looking at those comments, it is easy to understand the situation of Batman and Wonder Woman. With Batman's cautiousness, he never spoke. Now, he finally asked, Diana, do you think what he said is true? After all, you know God better. Wonder Woman shook her head and said, the God in my knowledge and the God in the interview completely different. After all, they are gods from other universes. Batman sighed. These gods are so dangerous. Then he saw the comment area became lively. The American captain. I don't understand. Can someone explain it to me? Thunder God Thor. Haha, what's the use of just being big? You still have to have a brain. Evil God Loki. It sounds like you understand. Thunder God Thor. King of Angels Kesha. To be honest, I don't quite understand time. The more I study it, the more profound it becomes. She had studied time for a long time before, but still didn't gain much. Now she feels like her brain is going to explode. Zero returner. I don't quite understand it either. Although I can also adjust the timeline, this kind of thing is still too unbelievable. There are too many paradoxes, or maybe this is the difference in our universe. Master Gu Yi, I can't understand it either. This is inconsistent with my understanding of time, or it may be a difference between different universes. The final star god said, it's too difficult to communicate with human language. Human language can only understand what is within its own cognition. Yi Bai said, then do you have a way to make ordinary humans understand? The final star god, I can transmit my knowledge directly into people's heads. Aha laughed and said, that would be great. That person will go crazy because he can't carry this kind of information. This is the truth. Yi Bai said, can we understand it this way in human language? Your Majesty the last king, you said you wanted to be in your future, the past of this world warns the Tai of order. Now everyone knows that the Tai of order has fallen in the past. Does that mean that the future you has failed? The final star god shook his head and said, this is different because our timelines are different. What followed was a lot of difficult words, and the audience below was already a head or two taller. I don't understand at all. Even geniuses like Black Tower and Screw Gumu feel like their heads are as big as a bucket. Because if you follow the theory of the final star god, there will be too many paradoxes, just like the crazy words of a madman. Yi Bai rubbed his temples and said, okay, I'll stop here first. I think everyone will go crazy if you continue talking. Let's change the topic. You said you wanted to warn Tai of order. Why? The final star god said, because the former order was the most powerful destiny of this universe, and it suppressed this universe. When the Tai of order exists, it is impossible for a star god like destruction to be born. With him here, the universe will be much safer. Nanook, the star god of destruction. Aha said. But you also said that when the breeding star god was born, Tai of order was watching with his eyes. So why didn't he prevent the birth of the breed? So, is it your fault? You are the mastermind behind this. Yi Bai rolled his eyes. Didn't you say before that breeding is a natural birth? Aha said angrily. I was deceived by the man behind the scenes, this guy. He is obviously the guy who has caused countless disasters and chaos, but he packages himself like a savior. This guy doesn't look like a good person. Many of the audience below rolled their eyes. How qualified are you to criticize others? You are the biggest liar in the universe, right? No one will believe Aha's words. At the end, the star god sighed. I don't know. Why? Yi Bai said. How about we invite Tai from the party concerned to come and have a chat? The audience below was immediately shocked. Black Tower, could it be that he can even resurrect the star god? Ruan Mei, and you say he is not the creator? Ant Screw, my chip is overloaded. Kafka, can he even do such a thing? Elio, I don't know, this is too exaggerated. Jizzy also widened her eyes. If even the star god can be resurrected. Is it possible to resurrect the pioneer? A handsome man in gorgeous armor stood up in the venue. Host, I wonder if you can resurrect the pure and beautiful star god Idrila. In this way, the Pure Beauty Knights will do everything possible to defend your unparalleled appearance. What a sweet little mouth. But the comment area exploded. The same star god Shipei said, no. Balance star god said to each other, please wait. Nanook, the star god of destruction, stop. A lot of star gods panicked when they heard the news. Aha laughed loudly. Awesome, awesome. It's all this feeling. At this time, a projection appeared in the auditorium. It was a mechanical head, the image of the intelligent star god. The wisdom star god said, Your Majesty the host, please don't resurrect Tai of order. Yi Bai asked curiously, why? Because Tai must fall. According to my deduction, 91.3597% of Tai falls voluntarily. Why? Is he tired of living? Because the environment of the universe has changed. Environment. Ba Shizhen said. The ideological trend of the universe is the soil that breeds the star god. The birth of the star god is closely related to the environment of the universe. Because Tai's destiny is so powerful, everything in the universe is under his order. At that time, there was already a desire to resist this order. I speculate that breeding was born out of this trend of thought. At that time, Tai should have discovered this. Under his order, the universe lacked the randomness of true chaos. Without this, the universe is just a ruthless machine. Cold, heartless, and despairing. Big. After Bo Shizen's words fell, the comment area and the scene exploded. Orochimaru. No, didn't I say before that the doctor was upgraded from a supercomputer? Why do you say such words when you wholeheartedly seek the solution to all things in the universe? He had communicated with Bo Shizen, and he felt that these words were like Bo Shizen scolding him. Other viewers also expressed their confusion. The mysterious star god was obsessed with myths, and even made several comments in the comment area. It's a bunch of nonsense. Nonsense. Sanctimonious. Your calculation of all things will destroy the true randomness of the universe and destroy all the variables in the universe. Said so much in a row, it shows his excitement. Aha at the scene even said, nonsense. You can't speak if you bully someone to death, right? It must be a conspiracy. The destruction of order must be your conspiracy. The host, 5, 5, 8, 7, 8, 7, let Tai confront them face to face. Yi Bai glanced at him. He was worthy of being an Aha. He wanted to make a fuss under any circumstances and didn't care about the consequences at all. It's as if you had no involvement in this matter. Yi Bai said, Your Excellency Bo Shizen, regarding the myth, what do you have to say about your remarks? He knew that the mysterious star god myth and the intellectual star god doctor were sworn enemies. Because myth believed that doctor's calculation of all things would destroy the variables in the universe. So he dropped the fog of confusion and the rain of senses to destroy all the variables in the universe. The truth of the universe is concealed, blocking Bo Shizen's calculations. That's why Bo Shizun was so excited when he said that there is real randomness in the universe. I'm not familiar with it. He doesn't understand science or mathematics. He's just a ignorant magician. It's hard for me to explain to him. The mysterious star god is lost, %*. It means that he is not here, otherwise he would have to fight with Bo Shizun. Yi Bai looked at Haida and said, Ms. Haida, it's difficult for us ordinary people to understand star god's theory. Can you explain it to everyone? We ordinary people. Are you embarrassed to put yourself among ordinary people? Pretend, keep pretending. Haida spread his hands. Even in mathematics, there are truly random and uncertain probabilities. Sir Mic thinks that Bo Shizun's calculation will destroy the variables of the universe. This is ridiculous. This is probably what Bo Shizun means. It can be said that Mr. Mic really does not understand mathematics. These words gave countless people goosebumps. Is this the famous Ms. Black Tower? Is she so brave? Are you not afraid of being pinched to death when you complain about the star god to his face like this? Yi Bai said. But according to me, as far as we know, Bo Shizun deduced 3 moments before the Emperor's War. No matter how the myth interfered at the time, the result was the same as Bo Shizun's calculation. Doesn't this mean that there is no randomness in the universe? The mystery of the mysterious star god. Don't I want to lose face? Bo Shizun said. That is inevitable in chance. Sometimes, certain things are bound to happen, just like no matter what, the universe will eventually be destroyed. We can interfere with its process, but the results will not change. Sure enough, the star gods are all embodiments of philosophical concepts. If you continue talking, it will turn into a philosophical discussion. Stop, stop. Yi Bai turned his eyes to others. Ms. Jizzy, why were you so surprised before? He is now a mature host and knows when to take back the topic. Jizzy was very surprised. Is there actually a question and answer session? She directly expressed her doubts, because according to most people my guess is that the star god is a being who has practiced a certain idea to the extreme and has been upgraded too. His Excellency Bo Shizun's statement subverted this guess, that's why I was so surprised. There were voices in the field echoing, me too. Me too. Yi Bai looked at the doctor again. Your Excellency Bo Shizun, do you have any explanation on this issue? Bo Shizun said. The two are not contradictory. It is precisely because changes in the cosmic environment will cause a certain trend of thought to emerge, so it is easier for someone to practice the concept of this trend of thought to the extreme, leading to the birth of a certain star god. Is that so? Ruan Mei's usually cold face also became excited. I have come to the right place today. Just such a short interview has made my understanding of star god go up several levels. I don't know how many people also breathed a sigh of relief. It turns out that everyone's understanding is not that wrong, but the understanding is incomplete. Yi Bai said. That's it. Thank you for clarifying everyone's doubts. Then Yi Bai said to the star god of the end, Your Majesty the End King, I may have to ask you to leave now, because if you stay here any longer, Marshal Hua and General Jing Yuan may come to me and fight for their lives. Marshal Hua and Jing Yuan's faces turned pale. Because of the turbulent flow of time, Luofu could no longer hold on. The last king is really scary. Their mere presence beside you is such a huge threat. The final star god said. No problem, thank you. It's been a long time since I've talked to someone like this. Please chat with me next time. After saying that, Yi Bai sent him out of the live broadcast room, and his timeline was once again staggered from the world. Shenzhou Luofu returned to normal. Gui Nathan let go of Li Sushang's hand and said, Look, I have already told you that Mr. Yi is a good person. It scared me to death just now. Li Sushang, I'm almost scared to death too. Just now, the turbulent flow of time made them see a lot of strange things, and the two girls were horrified. In the live broadcast room, Yi Bai continued, From what we know so far, the birth of the Insect King does not look like Aha's conspiracy, nor does it look like the last king's conspiracy. Like the natural evolution of the universe, it is the accidental necessity that Bodhisattva said. But there is a driving force behind this accident. Then the screen changed. A star god appeared in the screen. This star god also had a human form, but his whole body seemed to be made of metal. His hands were clasped in front of his chest, and his body was like a spiral. Where the chest was originally, there are two surrounding spirals, like Tai Chi. He is the balance star god. Before the insect king was born, a 3.3 scale appeared in front of him. He placed a weight on the scale, and the 3.3 scale tilted to one side. Then the insect king was born under Tai's nose. The world was in chaos again. It turned out that there was really a black hand. Haida sighed. Sure enough, he knows everything. The balance star god said to himself, I still can't hide it from your eyes. But, that is for the future of the universe. In fact, Tai himself noticed it. He must have realized how much harm absolute order would bring to the entire universe. Yi Bai smiled. Dead people can't talk anyway, right? You have accepted it, and there is no need to confront Tai. It's time to bring the topic back to the locust plague in the universe. He said. Let's take a look at the locust plague in the universe again. Seeing that Yi Bai no longer paid attention to Tai, Aha couldn't help but sigh. The host really didn't fall for it. If he resurrected Tai, this would be real fun. It's a pity that the host is not easy to fool. He seems to really know everything. So, are you the creator of our world? In the screen. It is a world that has been invaded by insect swarms. Everyone is evacuating, while someone is looking at a leaky house and whispering. This crazy woman, why doesn't she want to leave? I heard that her child died on the battlefield. She couldn't accept it, so she went crazy. What to do? I have no choice but to wait here to die. In the room where the picture enters, the crazy woman can only be heard talking to herself. My child is here, what nonsense are you talking about? Baby, please wear your shoes and don't throw them away. There are many small shoes in the room, and those shoes are being worn on the feet of a larva. She is teaching the worm to put on shoes. At this moment, the blood of many people ran cold. Comments section. Dr. Banner. She treats the bugs as her own children. Matsumoto Rangaku. I got goosebumps all over, this is so scary. Kakashi. Now I get goosebumps when I see bugs. I never want to go near Abarame's house again. Zhongli. It makes me even more uncomfortable than Osel's offspring. I don't want to see bugs anymore. The scene continues. There are more and more larvae in the room, but the woman is not afraid at all. She was still taking care of her children, with all her heart, making clothes and shoes for them, until one day, all the food in the room was eaten, and then she became food. Yi Bai said, this is just the most trivial tragedy in the insect plague. The scene then changed. It was in a hospital filled with pregnant women expecting to give birth. They gave birth to countless children, but they were just worms. What was even more strange was that neither the pregnant women nor the doctors who delivered the babies seemed to notice anything strange. This time the scene exploded again. Compared to the game between the star gods, this kind of experience of ordinary people made them feel more sympathetic. Sha Jin. This is too terrifying. Even more terrifying than the company's records. Even the unfortunate experiences he had in his early years seemed to be considered lucky compared to this one. Topa. I think the company should organize a pest control team to kill all the bugs that are still alive. Diamond. Do you think no one will do this? It's not that you don't want to do it, it's just that it can't be done. Even if the insect king is destroyed, the fate of the influence is still a little bit. These are just ordinary bugs, and it is said that there are still breeding orders to keep them alive. And no one knows if these insects are driven to a desperate situation, whether they will give birth to an insect king again. Everyone's scalp went numb instantly. Ruan Mei thought deeply. With the specificity of Zerg genes, can we analyze the truth about the breeding destiny? Haida glanced at Ruan Mei's pretty face and said, you are crazier than I thought. On the other side, Walter said, it seems that the scale powder of insects has a magical effect. This has to be entered into the train's database. Maybe we will encounter these bugs that day too. GZ said, as long as they still exist, that is inevitable. March 7th said with goosebumps all over. I don't want to meet this kind of thing. Xingmei said, don't worry, this thing is actually not that scary. Just remove the head and eat it. It tastes like chicken and is crunchy. March 7th strangled Xingmei's neck. Stop talking, I'm going to vomit. The comment area also exploded. Iron Man. I finally understand why some soldiers stood there and were slaughtered by bugs before. These bugs can cause hallucinations and even control human thinking. Uchiha Madara. It's too scary. This birth rate is not as scary as what happened later, but it is possible for people to have worms in their stomachs. What an abominable monster. Orochimaru. I finally understand. These bugs have contaminated the genes of these humans. Is this how the earliest bugs came from? Now he has a deeper understanding of genes, and he really understands it. King of Angels Kesha. The pollution and adaptability of Zerg genes. No wonder the vitality is so strong. Lay movie. I really want to kill all these bugs. This scene reminded her of the disaster 500 years ago, and of the old friends she lost. Some of them shared the same hatred. Luo Ji. Fortunately, our world doesn't have such things. Compared with them, the third-level people have become beautiful features. Batman. Eating everything, polluting everything, even the planet is polluted by them. I guess nothing will change unless I kill that insect king. Those star gods will probably take corresponding measures. He finally spoke. He was thinking, how should he deal with this situation if he encountered it? Even if the opponent was a terrifying existence like the star god, he did not give up thinking. However, not many people noticed this strange audience. When the live broadcast started in this world, many viewers in this world entered the live broadcast room, but they all spoke on the spot. Batman is right, of course, the first one. Facing the insect emperor's gluttonous star god, his intention was not to stop the insects. Because devouring everything is the driving force behind his destiny, he just regards these bugs as an endless source of food. But the Tai of order will never allow this to happen under order. So he immediately found the amber net. The screen switches. The image of the Order Star God Tai appears on the screen. He also has an appearance similar to that of a human. His whole body is like a galaxy. In front of him, there is a suspended galaxy. The most eye-catching thing is that the huge eyes on his side appeared in front of the guardian star god Cripper. Cripper put down the giant hammer in his hand for the first time, stopped building the wall, and then gave Tai a big hug. The voice of the Tai of order sounded. It was such a beautiful and harmonious song, but it was also in order, like an army in formation. The Amber King began to respond, and his voice was kind and crisp. Sand Jin was extremely surprised. The relationship between Amber King and Tai is so good. Diamond said. That's not surprising. Because the destiny of preservation also has the concept of protecting order. Therefore, they are very friendly and should be normal. Topa said. It's a pity that I don't understand what they are talking about. The other spectators were also fascinated by it. They are all destiny walkers, full of endless curiosity and yearning for their own star god. But most people have never seen the real star god with their own eyes in their entire lives. What does it look like? Yi Bai said. The way star god communicates is difficult to understand. Let's invite Amber King to hear what they said at that time. The next moment, the Amber King, who has always been the strongest at the border of the universe, also appeared in front of the immortal boat Luofu. Marshal Hua and Jing Yuan's faces turned pale again. This guy, he will not drag all the star gods to Luofu. Let's take a walk. Even if our ferry boat has the protection of the hunter, it can't withstand your torment. Then, the Amber King turned into a strong man with bronze skin 2 meters away, with muscles as strong as iron. Han, he walked into the live broadcast room. A group of company executives immediately stood up and saluted, but Creeper ignored it and just said to Yi Bai angrily and helplessly, "You shouldn't bother me building the wall." Now Yi Bai was very curious. Who are you building so many walls to guard against? The many spectators in the audience couldn't help but prick up their ears. Because there are many speculations about why this ancient existence built a wall in the galaxy. But Amber King has always built a wall of silence and did not answer anyone's questions. So no one is not curious about this question. But Clipper was silent. Yi Bai asked again, is it to guard against the greedy star god? Creeper blew out a strong breath from his nose. It's just a greedy star, and I don't need to spend so much effort. The company stood up straight. Waist bar. So domineering. Worthy of being the Amber King. But Cripper looked at the audience and withdrew his gaze. But there is no need to tell humans should not know about their existence. Because just knowing it will cause huge harm to humans. The faces of all the Destiny Walkers in the audience were pale. Just knowing it would cause huge harm. What kind of enemy is this? No wonder King Amber built so many walls. Crepper continued. He said a lot to me. If we put it in human language, it is actually very simple. At that time, Tai told me that there were two disorderly disasters in this world, and they made the universe a mess. Not only did it destroy the order, but it also infected the Guardians. I also couldn't watch these two guys' concepts sprawl out across the universe, so I agreed. In the picture, Tai's exuberant singing voice and Krippa's voice that seemed to knock the world were mixed together. Then suddenly, a burst of laughter sounded in the boundless void. Everyone knew that Aha came. Yi Bai looked at Aha. So Aha, what did you say to them at that time? Aha suddenly became energetic. Obviously it was my interview, but you talked to so many guys. I thought you had forgotten me. Aha is the most helpful person. I can't bear to see these two guys messing around in the universe. So when I heard about Tai's plan, I was ready to help them. Then I found my good friend Akival. On the Star Dome train. When Pam saw what Aha said, she said angrily, "You guys have the nerve to say, whose friend are you? You bad guy, you blew up the Star train and were chased so far by Akival, do you have the nerve to say that?" In the picture, a man wearing a clown mask appeared in front of the Star Dome train. Then a man who looked like an adventurer walked out of the Star Dome train and roared, "Aha, you actually dare to come." The nameless guests in the universe burst into tears when they saw him. This is Akival, this is our God. There is no star god in this world who is so close to humans. Our God, where are you? Aha laughed. Oh, my dear Akival, my friend, do you really not want to see me? I remember we were so happy when we got along. Then an iron fist was about to fall on his head. Aha remained motionless and said, "If hitting me can calm my anger, then you can hit me." Akival put away his fist angrily. "There's no point in fighting you. Go away." "Come on, Akival, we are friends. I don't have a friend like you. Let me tell you, I have climbed to the top of the tree of imaginary numbers, and I can show you the way. You are a ghost. Go away. Akival. You go. Akival. Akival. Okay, what do you want to do with me? Comment area. American Captain. I really believed that he and Akival were friends. Jingyuan. So, Chong Le Tianjin has climbed to the top of the tree of existence. Is this also a lie? I actually had a glimmer of belief before. He was guarding outside and could not be present at the scene. He could only speak in the comment area. Evil God Loki. Diaresis open corner bracket Diaresis open corner bracket is a god. You are so humble and persistent. Don't you have the dignity of a god? Sambo. What is the dignity of the gods? Hanabi. How much does dignity cost per pound? Can it be eaten? Evil God Loki. Are you making fun of a god? Who are you? Hanabi. I am a believer in the god of fun, the masked fool. What kind of god are you? In the Nether prison, the two people who were unable to participate in the live broadcast had to speak in the comment area. Thor, God of Thunder, is a letter from a god. You actually disrespect your god so much. Even he couldn't accept this kind of thing. Hanabi, we are planning to choreograph a play when we go back to the tavern, called Rakukogami-san Invites Akiwire, and then Nomo Jiao I to be the leading actor. I want to portray his flattering look. In the Nether prison, a group of masked fools clapped their hands and applauded. They shouted, "Aha is so shameless." The guards looked at each other in confusion. The audience in the comment area opened their eyes. King of Angels Kesha. You guys are actually teasing you like this. God. Odin. This god is too weird. Tianli. Even a believer in Barbados wouldn't do this to Barbados. Wendy. Yi Bai chuckled and said, "They are masked fools. The more they tease and ridicule their god Aha, the more they represent their respect for Aha." Huh. Is there such a thing? Is this really true? In the screen. After hearing Aha's words, Akival finally agreed and left the Star Dome train. Then Aha found Shipei, the cosmic star god. Shipei's voice is somewhat similar to Tai's, like countless people singing at the same time. It's just not as orderly as Tai, but it's unexpectedly harmonious and beautiful. Many viewers from other universes even couldn't help but record it and use it as background music. Yi Bai asked, "What did you say to him at that time?" Aha said, "I said at the time, Shipei, there is a huge crisis in the universe. Tai and Creeper need our help, and the world needs our help. Save. Inspired by me, Shipei also agreed to join the fight against evil breeding and gluttony. All the masked fools laughed so hard that none of them believed Aha's words. Yi Bai smiled and turned on the translation function. He only discovered that there was a translator when he found that he couldn't understand what the star god said. Function. Now, star god's words were translated. Shipei. Aha, what do you want from me? Aha, mother of cluster stars. Thank you for the rubber ball you gave me. I have carried it with me for so many years. This 120 symbolizes our friendship. If it's okay, just leave. We haven't seen each other for so many years and you chase me away as soon as you start talking. I thought we were friends. I don't dare to have you as a friend. Aha said. It's like this. Tai asked me to invite you to deal with breeding and gluttony together. He said that after such changes occurred under his order, his destiny had begun to decline. For the sake of the order of this universe, if you help him deal with these two guys, he will give up his concepts to you. As soon as these words came out, the whole place exploded. All the Destiny Walkers at the scene felt a chill. No matter how you look at it, Tai has never said anything like this to Aha before. Aha actually promised Shipei directly like this. I can't believe it if it is indeed Aha. Haida said in shock. So Tai was actually tricked by Aha. That is the oldest star god. If I had known this guy was scary. After all, the simulated Aha in the simulated universe would know that he was just a clone. I didn't expect that the real him was so terrifying. When Tai was overwhelming the whole world, he plotted against Tai. Ruan Mei. I don't know. However, it seems that in the simulated universe, the value of happiness needs to be increased. Star Core Hunter. Kafka. Aha, this guy is really creepy. Silver Wolf. This is normal, funny characters are the strongest. In the Nether prison, the masked fools were all excited and applauded. Comment section. Hanabi. Even the trick has been discovered. Sure enough, Lizishan cried when he was bullied, which is great. People from the motherland. I feel comfortable. Sure enough, the host is still the same host, he just likes to expose people's dirty information, even the gods will not let him go. Hanabi. Dirty material. Where is the dirt? Jing Yuan. What on earth are you masked fishermen thinking in your heads? Yunchi Martial Hua. If you can understand, then you are not far from becoming the masked fool. People of the motherland. This is not fair. Why are believers so firm even after the scandal about God is exposed? As soon as my scandal was exposed, people everywhere scolded me. Captain of the United States. There are obviously two such terrible enemies, but he actually plots against his companions. Shouldn't we work together and be united? Iron Man. I've talked to him so many times before, but you still don't understand that guy. He is just a person who is afraid of chaos in the world. No, God. Aha looked at Yi Bai and sighed. In order not to be noticed by Tai, I used 170 billion encryption methods. Even Tai can't decipher those messages. Why can't I lie to you? I can't lie to people, I can't tell lies, I might as well die. Ah, I feel aggrieved. Yi Bai curled his lips. It's not a question of whether you can deceive me or not. It's a question of whether you can deceive the system. Yi Bai said, why do you want Tai to die? Aha said, under the order of Tai, everything in the universe is like a pool of stagnant water. Everything about the civilization he planned, when will it begin, when will it flourish, and when will it end? There was no surprise or expectation at all. It's not just me who wants Tai to die, Shipei is also eager for Tai's order, and so is balance, their concepts already overlap. Even if you are protecting it, you may not want to. Yi Bai turned to look at Creeper. Really? Aren't you friends? Creeper was furious. How could I want Tai to die? Aha smiled and said, don't you want to share some of Tai's order? His order is too powerful. With his order and your protection, your walls will become indestructible. Creeper took out a hammer and hit Aha, smashing Aha into a piece of paper. Then the piece of paper began to lengthen slowly again, and turned into Aha again, like Tomcat. The two star gods looked at each other and stopped talking. Creeper's previous attack was not a show-off. Although it was aimed at Aha, he still used force just to test how strong Yi Bai's barrier, live broadcast room, was. They have no ill intentions towards Yi Bai, they just want to test how strong he is. All the power of that hammer was extremely concentrated and did not dissipate, so it looked like a slapstick. Put it outside, and a galaxy would be hammered to pieces. But there was no movement in the live broadcast room, not a trace, as if Cripper's blow didn't exist at all. What kind of power is this? What kind of existence is this person? As the owner of the live broadcast room, Yi Bai certainly felt this surprise. Come on, before the live broadcast ends, I have to play cards with these two guys and take care of them. It's embarrassing for everyone to be so familiar with each other, but you are going to run into each other. Yi Bai added, does Your Excellency Shipei have anything to say about this matter? By this time, Jing Yuan and Marshal Hua were about to faint. Does this guy still want to bring a star god over? Di Gong, help me. Comment section. Sympathy for the star god Shipei. I did not kill Tai, nor did I swallow Tai. I am Tai. He and I have long been inseparable from each other. I am him and he is me. Iron Man, what you said really creeps me out. Did you eat him? Sympathy star god Shipei. No, I am a life of cluster consciousness. I am composed of countless consciousnesses. Just like the body that makes up a person, each cell in it has its own consciousness, but when these consciousnesses come together, we have the consciousness of being a human being. A part of the body of Tai, the will of Tai, is also a part of this consciousness. The audience was horrified. What's the difference between this and swallowing Tai? Is Tongxi so scary? They thought in their hearts that they would stay away from Tongxi in the future. Only in the distance, the Pinocchio family members began to sing Tongxi. Yi Bai said, now we have finally figured out this matter. The trend of thought in the universe has changed, which has loosened the order of Tai. The ravings of the final star god made it possible to breed the star god. So the star gods balanced each other, and used this looseness to tilt the balance, which helped the birth of the star gods. Then, an unprecedented and terrible war broke out between breeding and gluttony. If one lives and the other eats, if this continues, the entire universe will be destroyed. So Tai found Cripper, intending to eliminate breeding and gluttony. Aha stepped in and found Akival and Shipei to help them, and they joined forces to deal with breeding and gluttony. At the same time, Aha, Shipei and Qianjun are also plotting against Tai. This is the situation. All the star gods remained silent. Then consider them acquiescing. Yi Bai said. Then let us take a look at this battle. The screen expands. It is still the battlefield of the global locust plague, it is still overwhelming and densely packed with insects, and it is still the terrifying mouth of the abyss. Suddenly, Shipei, Tai, and Akival appeared in front of Greedy. Then, the two star gods disappeared, and only Akival remained there. Then, a golden giant hammer fell from the starry sky. Wherever the giant hammer was swung, even the space was distorted. When it swung over a star, it rolled up a trail of flames, just like accidentally blowing out a star. Candle. Countless insects in the void just exploded to death, leaving no trace of their corpses. This is true even for many giant bugs the size of planets. Those are the breeding envoys who have received the blessing of breeding. But in front of Creeper's giant hammer, there is no difference. The breeding star god let out a cry and waved his claws towards the giant hammers. At this moment, a burst of laughter sounded in the dark space. The breeding star god was confused for a while, and was hit directly by the hammer. The terrifying power caused countless cracks in the hard shell of his body. However, those cracks seemed to be healing rapidly, making his shell stronger. At this time, the mind of balance did not know when it would appear, and a scale appeared in front of him again. He placed a weight on the other side of the scale. The equilibrium stand's healing rate begins to slow down. Afterwards, Creeper swung the giant hammer again, and the balanced star god added another batch of weights to each other. The weight turned into a sun and landed on Creeper's giant hammer. The breeding begins to struggle and want to escape. But Akival stood in his way. At this time, Creeper's big golden hand came down and held down the breeding star god's head. The giant hammer falls again. The entire starry sky wailed under this giant hammer. This time not only did he smash the shell of the breeding star god, but he also pulled something out of his body. Those viewers who had seen Yi Bai wielding a giant hammer understood immediately. That's something similar to a rule. Could it be that this is the concept that makes up the destiny of the star god? The guardian star god Creeper destroyed his body and extracted his concepts at the same time. Then there was no suspense in the battle. Creeper pressed the breeding star god firmly into the void and hammered down one after another, smashing his solid outer shell, separating his internal organs and limbs, and extracting his concepts. Whenever the breeding star god wants to fight back, heal, or escape, balance, a kibble will take action to stop any of its actions. In front of these four, the breeding star god was completely powerless to fight back. One hammer, another hammer, blood splashes in the starry sky. Then, it turned into insects. Those surviving bugs reproduce like crazy. The reproducing insect swarm launched a counterattack against several other star gods, but their counterattack was not much different from that of moths fighting against the flame. Finally, as the giant hammer fell, the breeding star god completely fell apart. And those swarms of insects that had been multiplying like crazy stopped multiplying and began to flee aimlessly in all directions. The battle ended, and the whole process lasted for an unknown amount of time. Apart from Aha's laughter, there was no communication between them. There was only the sound of the Amber King's giant hammer falling continuously and the Insect King's cry. The scene was deathly silent. Billion. The scene finally freezes. The war that lasted for an unknown amount of time ended in the shortest way in front of everyone. The scene was deathly silent. The traveler and the messenger all know that the star god is very strong, but they still don't have a clear understanding of how strong it is. Now they realize it. The stars are just playthings between the fingers of the gods. Every punch, every breath of the gods is the blooming of rules. Just being affected by the aftermath of their battle, countless stars turned into dust in the universe. Nice. Then, a deafening cheer erupted. The company members stood up collectively and shouted enthusiastically, "Amber King, mighty! Amber King, invincible! I swear to dedicate everything to Amber King." Witnessing Amber King's miracle outside the wall, they were so excited that they couldn't rely on themselves. In this battle, Amber King was the well-deserved main output, MVP, 290, the ceiling of combat power. They can't blame them so excited. On the other side of the train crew, March 7th opened her mouth. GZ, how did they fight? What exactly did the Pioneer Star God do? Where did Greedy, Tai, and Tongsi go? What did a kibble do again? GZ said bitterly. Why do you think I can understand? However, it seems that a kibble must have used his pioneering power to send the three star gods to an unknown place. Perhaps. Walter. There have been many times when breeding has to break free from its shackles. Only development can block its path. You can open up anywhere, and naturally you can block anyone's path forward. Xingmei. I thought a kibble's fighting style was very brave. He should be charging forward with a spear in his hand. It turns out that he is really good at outflanking and bypassing the guerrilla tactics. Their playing style is obscene and Aha-like. Now I kind of believe that maybe they are actually real friends. After hearing this, the three of them choked and coughed. Although you said it somewhat vividly, isn't this wording inappropriate? Galaxy Hunter. Kafka's face became more solemn than ever before. This is a battle between star gods. Can we really bring about the fall of star gods? Liang said worriedly, but now that the future has changed, the stars won't be so dangerous anymore. Elio said, no matter how powerful the existence is, it has its fatal weakness. Sometimes their strongest point is their weakest point. Just like the breeding star god, he possesses unimaginable power and his destiny is extremely broad, but he is bound by the driving force. It destroyed the order, blocked the development, disrupted the preservation, and became the joy in the eyes of joy. So he must die. Nanook's destiny made him destined to be the enemy of many star gods. We are not trying to kill Nanook, we are just trying to find a strong enough enemy for him. Silver. Wolf blew a bubble. In other words, we actually have to do Aha's things. Elio paused after hearing this, although, but, well, that's it. Only Brother Ren crossed his arms with a cold face and didn't say a word. In a dark prison, a group of masked fools praised loudly. God of fun, well done. You kidnapped Kai Kao, deceived Tong, and stabbed Tai in the back. You are worthy of being the god of fun. Your tricks made the entire universe tremble. The guards on the side looked at each other. Are you really complimenting me? The comment area was also lively. 0. I've seen it, I've seen it. Not only can I use it, I can modify the rules and weaponize them. You can also turn the rules into physical objects and make yourself the incarnation of the rules. It is really a magical world. Luo Ji, it's magical, but I think their world might be more dangerous than ours. Evil god Loki, we are both playing with hammers, and we are both gods. Why is there such a big gap? Thor, take a good look at yourself. Thunder god Thor, are you itchy again? Aizen, I used to think that the Spirit King was the ultimate power, but now I realize that it is nothing. Giving up Bengyu was my wisest choice. He has already felt that if he keeps using Bengyu to evolve, the end point of his final evolution will be the Spirit King. Compared with this vast universe, it is too small. Uchiha Madara, I have witnessed the myth. It took a long time for the noisy scene to slowly calm down. Yi Bai looked at the audience. The war between gods ended that time. The star gods all said that without Tai, the world would be better. But as far as I know, after the fall of Tai, 2 imperial wars broke out, and the interstellar energy war. Hunting and abundance begin a never-ending war. The star god of destruction Naruk is born, and the antimatter army ravages the universe. If Tai was still here, would these things never happen? Aha! I respect Tai very much, but he is not omnipotent. No one can prevent the outbreak of war, not even when Tai is around. It's a pity that there should be someone who protects civilization, but his eyes can't see this. He will only keep his head buried in building walls. And his followers will only earn wealth in the universe in his name. Many wars have started because of them. So Tai was blinded. He thought that Creeper was someone who could trust the world, but he made the world such a mess. Throwing dirty water on Amber King in just a few words, this guy is really hard to change his nature. Although there is no big problem with him making peace, isn't it because of you that Tai fell? When people from Interstellar Peace Company heard Aha say this, very angry, but dare not provoke Aha. Creeper held the hammer. You are really looking for a fight, Aha. Aha, this guy really doesn't stop. Yi Bai smiled and said, I heard something from an audience member just now. It is said that the star gods are bound by the driving force, so they will not do anything that goes against their destiny. Is Tai's destiny destined to have such an ending? After all, the universe is so big, there are always people who don't agree with his order. Aha laughed loudly. I don't know why they have such a perception. 4.5. I guess a fictional historian made up the 4.5. That's actually the opposite of causation, Clipper said. We are promoted to star gods because we try our best to do something well. After being promoted to star god, of course we will try our best to do this well. This is our wish, not a restriction. However, the results are similar. Yi Bai said to Aha, actually, you made it up, right? A group of spectators in the audience felt like there were countless grasshoppers running through their hearts. Aha, this fools. Could it be that fictional history often takes the blame for Aha? Yi Bai said, I have reasonable suspicion that you are behind these things. Aha. Aha laughed and said, yes, it's all my fault. Yi Bai said, then let's deal with the war between Zunzu and Fengrao. Yi Bai doesn't really think that all disasters in this universe are caused by Aha. He just wanted to talk about hunting and hunting. This pair of particularly interesting things was just a personal hobby. He said, the war between hunting and Fengrao is a very long topic. According to the theory of the cosmic environment mentioned by the doctor before, after the locust plague swept across the universe and caused countless pain and disasters, the birth of fertility seemed inevitable. Because countless people hope to heal the pain caused by the war, the fertile star god medicine master appears who can heal all pain and free everyone from the threat of death. Cripper said that the star gods are actually all one muscle, so the fertile star god, who intends to heal all death and pain, never refuses anyone's request. He gave the elixir of immortality to anyone who could find him, but ironically, his act of healing the universe brought new pain to the universe. The picture changes again. I saw a group of half-human, half-dog creatures fighting on the ground. Their armors were extremely crude, and they fought in the most primitive way, using claws to grab and teeth to bite. But his body is extremely strong. No matter what kind of injury he suffers, he can almost recover quickly, and he can become stronger after 27 recovers. There were also their war weapons in the sky. The giant beasts flying in the sky at that time could even carry their warriors in their bodies. These biological weapons were completely enough to compete with the enemy's interstellar fleet. The Fox tribe on Luofu looked at these ferocious beasts, and the instinct in their genes made them tremble. Because that is Shenzhou's great enemy, Bu Liren. The Fox clan was originally just the slaves of Bu Liren. Later, during the battle between Shenzhou and Bu Liren, Shenzhou rescued the Fox clan, and the Fox clan joined Shenzhou. Comment section. Thor. It's amazing, fighting an interstellar war in such a primitive way. He didn't mean hand-to-hand combat. The Asgardians would also fight their enemies hand-to-hand in interstellar wars, but they had organized army. These guys gave him the feeling that they were a bunch of beasts. This is more like a wild beast hunting than a war. Zhongli. I feel the same way. Their organization is only a little better than the previous bugs. I also have a strange association. Although these creatures are half human and half animal, they are not like insects at all. But their abilities are similar to those of the previous bugs. Yi Bai said. Mr. Zhongli's inference is very reasonable. In fact, even if the star god falls, his destiny will not disappear. When the fertility star god was promoted to god, he should have absorbed a lot of the destiny of reproduction, so the power of fertility and fertility are somewhat similar. Aha laughed and said, when Creeper took away and diluted the life of breeding, then this kind of thing would inevitably happen. So now that the people of abundance are ravaging the universe, Creeper must bear most of the responsibility. Creeper pressed the hammer and glared at Aha. He understood Aha's intention. This guy just wanted to anger himself. It was not to test Yi Bai again, this is Aha's nature. It's really annoying to death. I really want to go back and build the wall as soon as possible. But it seems that the host will not let me go so soon. The host said that Star God is a stubborn person, isn't he? He has such great power, but he likes to interview and expose others. The secret black material, if he is permanent in this universe, he might become the Star God of Revelations. Creeper finds it very strange, because he has not had any information related to building a wall in his head for many years. The idea of the driving force of destiny is not unreasonable. Of course, he will not admit it, because in his opinion, it is his own destiny that drives him. Yi Bai said, Your Excellency, host, why don't you call the pharmacist over to ask about this kind of thing? When Marshal Hua and Jing Yuan heard this, their faces became even paler. They all wanted to fight Aha. Yi Bai chuckled. This is Shenzhou Luofu. If I call the pharmacist over, maybe, Marshal Hua and General Jingyuan will blow up Luofu and function Star God and fight for their lives. The Immortal Boat Alliance, why should they be afraid of life and death? I quite like this place, but I still don't want to go there. Jing Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. The enthusiastic tricks he has given to Mr. Yi Bai these days are still effective. After this matter is settled, let's give some subsidies to Fu Taibu and Qing Kai. The masked fools in the nether prison have returned. Turn on taunt mode. The god of music is so pitiful, his tricks are completely useless to the host. Faced with a host who couldn't lie, Lizishan could only feel frustrated. Suddenly Aha in the live broadcast room burst into tears. The more he cried, the sadder he became. This shocked everyone. What did he post to make the happy star god burst into tears? Aha's sad voice said, Taziuros, why did you die so miserably? Creeper, how could you do such a heavy hand to him? He just wants to reproduce quietly in the universe and never wants to harm anyone. Why do you want to harm him? Everyone was dumbfounded and the hair on their hair stood on end. What was going on? Even the happy star god was exaggerating to suddenly say something like this. People who don't know, might think that Aha and the breeding star god are a couple. Even the masked fools looked horrified, this kind of fun was too advanced for them. This is definitely the fault of the host. What did he do? Creeper looked at Yi Bai in horror, knowing that this was definitely done by Yi Bai. How could he control Aha's mind so easily? Fortunately, he didn't test it too much before. If he had the same fate as Aha. Thinking of this, his body with endless power couldn't help but tremble. This is of course Yi Bai's skill, he is obsessed with men and resents women. He knew that Aha said this just because of his nature, but he still had to teach him a lesson. The comment area also exploded. Sympathy star God Shipe. My eyes are going to go blind, give me a pair of ears that have never heard these words. Wisdom star God Bo Shizen. Finally someone has cured this annoying guy. Memory star God Floated Lee. I have recorded this moment, and I will make it into a cone of light. Nanook, the star god of destruction, afraid. All the star gods were extremely frightened. They had already made enough guesses about Yi Bai's power, but they didn't expect that Yi Bai was still stronger than they imagined. Aha's destiny is the most powerful among all the star gods, but his mind can be controlled so easily. What kind of power is this? Yi Bai blocked Aha's voice in the live broadcast room and said, the fertile star god has sent down the healing elixir for this world. However, what is the price of immortality? The screen changes. A group of fertile people are devouring their own kind. As they devoured them, he became stronger and stronger. This behavior caused their bodies to become deformed and their minds to go crazy. The picture changed again. A group of rich people are slaughtering a strange beast. Later, they actually directly injected the blood of this strange beast into their own bodies. Because of the powerful immortality of their bodies, they will not die, but will become stronger. However, the body also suffered various distortions. The picture changed again. They are also a group of fertile people who are changing their bodies. Let some strange bugs use their bodies to build nests. Their bodies were immortal, so they formed a symbiotic relationship with these bugs. In the end, the transformation of their bodies by these rich people has reached a crazy level. It makes me want to vomit when I see it. The comments section exploded. Kakashi. I thought it was scary enough for the Aburame clan to raise bugs in their own bodies, but I didn't expect something even more explosive. Tsunade. Don't compare them with the Aburame clan. I don't want to see bugs again. Got it. Uchiha Madara. They obviously gained immortality, why did it become like this? Intellectual star god Bo Shizen. This is actually an incomplete immortality, only their bodies are immortal. This is the power of abundance. It makes your body immortal, but your genes are short-lived. With short-lived genes, it is difficult to bear the price of immortality. Iron Man. If you think about it this way, it's really scary. If it is still the gene of a short-lived race, over such a long period of time, the copying of the gene will inevitably go wrong, causing physical deformities. In the end, the entire body tissue may turn into cancer cells. And the brain, which originally could only carry memories for decades, now needs to bear memories for hundreds or even thousands of years. That's much scarier than a disease like Alzheimer's disease. No wonder these rich people are like madmen. Zhongli. Even if we are immortals, this kind of thing is difficult to avoid. The wear and tear caused by time still exists. King of Angels Kesha. Indeed, time wears away the will, and it is difficult for anyone to avoid it. Who would have thought that she, who looked majestic now, actually had some negative and world-weary thoughts deep down inside? Nasida. The fertile star god who intended to heal the universe has brought so much pain to the universe. Fate is indeed the most unpredictable knowledge. The picture freezes. Yi Bai shook his head and said, those Fengshu people who received the gift of abundance gained immortality, but they lost their respect for life. Their wanton ways to transform themselves and go to any lengths for immortality have made the people of Fengshuo become an existence that is hated by humans and ghosts in this universe. Because of the disasters they brought to the universe, the gathering of hatred finally gave birth to the hunting star god, who launched an endless hunt for the harvest and the harvest people. But the most ironic thing is that, in my opinion, the immortal enemy of the Fengrao people, the hunting hunter Feng Dai, and the immortal boat alliance should be the most orthodox Fengrao people. As soon as these words came out, the scene exploded. Who doesn't know that in this universe, harvest and hunting are natural enemies, and they have been fighting for thousands of years. Now you say that the immortal boat alliance is the most orthodox harvest people. This immortal boat, can the alliance recognize it? Sure enough, Jing Yuan, who was originally maintaining law and order outside, projected here and said, Mr. Yi Bai, I respect you very much. But I don't agree with your statement. Although we have received abundant blessings, to us it is only a curse. How could we be a people of abundance? This kind of thing is related to the great cause of Shenzhou Lianming, so we have to make it clear. Yi Bai smiled and said, as far as I know, in the many years of war between the Shenzhou Alliance and the Fengrao people, they have rescued countless people who were harmed by the Fengrao people. Civilization. Thalassa, Cloud World, Orbver, Ghost Star, Green Hills, Miniature Potted Planet, Solar 8, Ribbon Star Colony. Simply countless. Moreover, you have cured thousands of genetic diseases and brought antidotes to countless illnesses. You are hunting for abundance, but you are also healing the pain of the universe. You have even used your abundant power to develop self-growing stars, living quantum computers, and self-proliferating soil. It's really breathtaking. Those Fengfeng people are all crazy. What you are doing is what Fengfeng should do. And it seems to me that this is not inconsistent with your hunting. Hunting for the sake of hunting is just mindless killing. Hunting for the sake of saving is the essence of the ferry boat. Jing Yuan was slightly startled. The host is so complimentary. He didn't expect that the host would think so highly of the Immortal Boat Alliance. In the comment area, Fertility Star God Medicine Master, what the host said is so good. Hunter Star Shenlin, that's great. The good thing is the ferry boat, not your rich people. You are simply guilty. Pharmacist of the Fertile Star God, diaresis open corner bracket what my rich people. What did they have to do with me? I just healed their pain, I didn't let them do whatever they wanted. The two started arguing in the comment area again, and the audience laughed and watched the show. Yi Bai continued, let's see how the hunting star god salivates. A long time ago, there was an emperor who unified the world and accomplished unprecedented feats. At this time, the wingmakers of the harvest people visited and told him that there is a harvest star god in the universe, who can heal all pain and bring eternal life to people. So the emperor devoted all his efforts to build 9 immortal boats and went to the vast universe to find this fertile star god in order to live forever. That was the predecessor of the Immortal Boat Alliance. During the voyage, the fate of the ferry boat and the Fengshui people began. The most hostile meat they encountered for the first time was a group of meat animals abandoned by the people of Fengshui. These things caused a large number of casualties to the Immortal Boat Alliance, and even caused them to lose an immortal boat. Because of the First Imperial War, the Golden People on the immortal Wang Lihao boat awakened their self-awareness, and another omnic crisis broke out. Later, they also encountered a fertile people named Suiyang. Their origins are no longer known. All we know is that they are pure energy creatures with no fixed form. They can reside in the bodies of intelligent beings and feed on the love, hate, sorrow, and joy of intelligent beings. For this reason, they tame the host's mind. This is an act of seizing the body. So, the war between Shenzhou and Suiyang broke out. At that time, the hunting star god, who was still a human being, showed his prowess for the first time. The picture changed. Within the Shenzhou Alliance, there were countless chattering and haggard people. Suddenly, light cyan fireballs flew out from them one by one. Those fireballs had their own facial features, telling the words they were talking about. Then, they flew out of the ferry boat, and their bodies began to gather together quickly, and in the end, they turned into a private sun. Seeing this scene, Huo said, Uncle Tai, were you there at that time? How did you lose? Tail was furious. Don't open the pot and pick up the pot, I haven't split yet. Who would have thought that those Shenzhou people would be so crazy? That guy is crazy, crazy. There was a roar at the scene, and countless spectators exclaimed. Even among the spectators, not many people knew that the Immortal Boat Alliance had ever dealt with such an outrageous enemy. Ms. Black Tower was very surprised. This is a kind of Protoss. Can it be combined into the sun? It's outrageous. Well, I also heard that there was once an order of abundance that revitalized a planet, so it's normal for these things to be able to gather into a living sun, right? Screw mother. The power of abundance is really amazing. But it solved some of my previous doubts. It turns out that Shenzhou's jade sign is a living creature, a kind of biological computer. Giving life to dead things is indeed a fruitful means. Ruan Mei. I have studied this thing before. They are natural energy bodies and can naturally control energy. They can be separated or combined. When enough 700 suns merge together, they form a huge energy body, which is indeed comparable to the energy of a star. Haida said. At that time, hunting had not yet been born, and the technology of ferry boats was far inferior to what it is now. In that situation, hunting was still a mortal's hunting. How did you solve this thing? Ruan Mei said. There are legends related to the immortal boat, but the details are not exhaustive. Let's wait and see. Train crew. March 7th hugged his heart's neck. Ah, what the hell is this? Is it a ghost? Walter said. Aggregation into living stars. Is this the power of abundance? It seems that they plan to use the gravity of stars to capture these ferry boats. GZ asked, can it be done? She would ask this, because Walter is an expert in manipulating gravity. Walter said, it should be possible. They have no entity, but their energy is powerful enough to distort space and produce extremely powerful gravity. I really don't know how the hunt was won in the first place. The comment area is equally lively. Iron Man, is the power of abundance so exaggerated? The power of the Infinity Stones is much stronger than this, but in some aspects it is not so outrageous. Aizen, the power of the star god's destiny seems to be absolute. Just like the abundant immortality and resurrection. Remember the soil that the host mentioned. The power of abundance can even make the soil come alive and grow on its own. Maybe this is a creature that was once a star that was activated by fertile power. Captain of the United States, speaking of which, how on earth did the immortal boat defeat this kind of thing? Batman said, it depends on how they gather their consciousness together. If it were me, I would start in this aspect. In the picture, the senior officials of Shenzhou were helpless, and then a young man stood up. He was tall, with a simple face, wearing armor, and carrying a long bow on his back. He said, I have a way, we have relevant data about Suiyang. We make a weapon and send it into the interior of the Great Sui Yang to let its energy decay. In this way, they will not be able to capture the ferry boat. The scientists on the side verified his idea. But someone said, you can use Yao Qing's auxiliary engine to make this weapon. But someone had to deliver the weapon in person. After all, that thing is alive, and they will shoot it down if they find something is wrong. This is certain death. The man strode forward. I will implement the plan I proposed. Then he said to the group of soldiers behind him, gentlemen, who is willing to die with me today? Then, one by one, voices sounded. I, boss, take me with you. I am coming too. One after another, resolute faces appeared in the eyes of everyone. The audience was greatly shocked. Only now did they know how brave the hunting star god was when he was still a human. The screen switched. The engine has been modified. Like a spaceship. And the young man directed the spacecraft forward, charging towards the huge star. At first, the huge Sui Yang didn't care. The spaceship was getting closer and closer, and Suiyang finally realized that something was wrong and started to attack. The young man commanded the spacecraft, avoiding every attack with precision, like two swordsmen fighting hand to hand. The index is falling rapidly. No matter how determined the soldiers are, they are in chaos now. The young man said, since I brought you out, I will definitely take you back unless I die. I can guarantee that we have a chance to survive. The sonorous and powerful voice calmed the morale of the army. The young man continued, that's it, don't be afraid. Suiyang is indeed a very powerful creature, but they are too idealistic. This is their weakness. As long as you can make them think they have lost, they will lose. When it feels like it's lost, that's our chance. I don't know how long this pulling has been going on. Suddenly, the light of the sun began to dim. The young man perked up and said, now. The spacecraft accelerated violently, like an arrow from a string, and plunged straight into the huge Suiyang. Seeing this scene, many people covered their mouths. They all guessed that the young man was the future hunting star god, and he was indeed very extraordinary. But how did they escape from this situation? At this time, someone discovered that a small spot separated from the spacecraft, and they escaped in an escape boat. It's a pity that they can't get rid of the gravitational pull of the Great Sui Yang. Someone on the spaceship said to the young man, boss, it is the greatest honor of my life to fight with you. The young man said, I told you, we still have a chance to survive, don't give up. Behind, the light of the Great Sui Yang became extremely dim and began to shrink crazily. Countless years of Yang escaped from it. The young man's escape boat for hunting selected a huge Sui Yang, which was Sui Huang, the head of Sui Yang. Sui Huang, who was seriously injured, was easily captured and had to escape with everyone. Everyone was dumbfounded for a while. The people of Shenzhou puffed up their chests proudly. You see, this is our Emperor Gong Siming. If you ride alone into battle, you can capture the enemy's head and return. How brave this is. Haida was stunned. Under such a huge disadvantage, not only did you turn defeat into victory, but you even captured the opponent's leader. What level of war god is this? Ruan Mei said. It's incredible. This is even more bizarre than the legend of the immortal boat. This is the so-called legend, but there is no need to talk about reality. Everyone in the company couldn't help but swallow their saliva. Topa said in shock. What kind of resourcefulness, what kind of courage, and how lucky. He can survive, all of these things are indispensable. San Jin also saw his eyes straightened, he shook his head and said, it's not luck. I heard from the Shenzhou people on the side that Suiyang needs a special method to seal it, and their escape ship has a sealing method. So, in fact, he had it all planned out from the beginning. He is indeed a man who can be promoted to star god. Over there on the train crew. March 7th said in shock. This is so handsome. But I still don't understand how he won. GZ said. The key to victory should be, as the mortal hunter said, a creature like Suiyang is idealistic. If he thinks he has lost, then he will lose. When Mortal Patrol was fighting Da Suiyang in a spaceship, he was defeated tactically, making him think that he had lost. So I was looking for an opportunity and hit it with one blow. This only chance of victory was perfectly grasped by him. It is indeed too strong, worthy of a hunting expedition. Xingmei crossed her arms and nodded. I think so too. Walter pushed up his glasses, shook his head, and didn't say a word. The comment area also exploded. Iron Man, this is unscientific. The decay of stars should trigger a supernova explosion. Why not? Oh, I was wrong. After all, this is not a star, but a magical creature with energy comparable to eternal life. The Shenzhou people have also made corresponding restraint weapons. This method is really shocking. Uchiha Madara said. He perfectly took advantage of Suiyang's weaknesses and defeated Suiyang psychologically. In the end, he used Suiyang's power to escape. He simply used the enemy's weaknesses and even strength to the extreme. The most powerful tactic is to apply even the enemy's own strength. Yi Bai smiled and said, everyone must have guessed that that young man is the later hunting star god. From then on he became the hero of Shenzhou and was called Emperor Gong. Not long after that, Shenzhou found the Fengwo star god. The Fengwo star god gave them building wood and gave them the method of immortality. But at this time, Di Gong strongly opposed it. His outstanding vision had already seen the threat posed by immortality. Unfortunately, there are not many people in this world who can resist the temptation of immortality. Di Gong firmly disagreed and even shot his own arrow at Jianmu in protest. This was regarded as disrespectful by the nobles on the ferry boat at that time, and they were angry and convicted him, and put him into hibernation. After his hibernation, the immortal boat man has gradually transformed into an immortal species. But slowly, the immortal disasters predicted by Di Gong appeared one by one. The ferry boats were in civil strife, and even one ferry boat was swallowed up by the red giant star. What was even more unfortunate was the Second Emperor's War, when the Golden People rebelled again. The people of Shenzhou finally suppressed these contradictions. But at this time, a greater crisis came. The picture changes. The ferry boat is still soaring in the starry sky. But suddenly the ferry boat is pulled by huge gravity, and a giant tree comparable to a planet appears in front of the ferry boat. The giant tree is bathed in the radiance of the star and generates infinite suction. In countless starry beasts were flying around the giant tree. Yi Bai said. The immortal boat was captured by gravity again. This time it was not Suiyang, but the Wingmaker's abundant blessing, Chong Sang. That's a Dyson tree similar to a Dyson ball. Both are blessed with abundance, and there is a strong absorption between the two. The Wingmakers used this to attract the immortal boat. From this we can see that everything is a conspiracy, the conspiracy of the Wingmakers of the people of abundance. They seduced the emperor of Shenzhou's home planet to look for the blessing of abundance. When Shenzhou received the blessing of abundance, they came to snatch it. Shenzhou, which had just experienced civil strife, was simply helpless against an enemy of this level. At this time, they remembered their former hero, Di Gong. The young Emperor Gong back then has become a bit vicissitudes of life, and his temples are gray, but his momentum is still as strong as before. He stood in front of a cage, and inside the cage was Suiyang. It was none other than Sui Huang, the leader of Suiyang at that time. Back then, half of his body was blown off, and he was imprisoned here as the power source of the ferry boat. He looked very haggard. But when he saw Di Gong, he still mocked. Hey! Isn't this the great hero of Shenzhou? I heard that you were sentenced to hibernation for the crime of disrespect. How come you have time to come to this place to visit an old friend of mine? Di Gong said. The immortal boat was attacked by the wingmakers. Their Chong Sang and Jianmu were both fertility gods. They took advantage of this to capture the immortal boat. I need your help, lend me your power. Emperor Sui laughed crazily. You fool, you are here today. You want me to help you. Why? The wingmakers can't do anything to us. As long as Shenzhou is finished, we will be free. Di Gong smiled. I have decided to die. You feed on human sorrows and joys. Can't this huge sadness and anger satisfy you? After the battle, this body of mine will also be yours. Sui Wang was stunned for a long time, and the cute head that was different from his ferocious nature shook his head. I don't understand, your compatriots treat you like this, and you actually have to sacrifice for them. I heard that in order to celebrate the armistice, they pardoned countless hibernating criminals. But that's it, they haven't released you. Now, are you willing to die before I can release you? Di Gong laughed and said, whether I am willing or not, you will naturally know if you are possessing me. Sui Wang shook his head and said, you are indeed a lunatic, but I like it. The next moment, the seal was released, and he got into Di Gong's body. And in the distance, a group of prisoners who were released like Di Gong, many of them were originally loyal followers of Di Gong, and they became Di Gong. The same choice as Gong. Trade with Sui Yang, use your emotions to support Sui Yang, and give your body to Sui Yang in exchange for Sui Yang's power. Under their influence, more and more people on the ferry boat make the decision. They made the same choice. They followed the Emperor Gong and flew with the help of Suiyang's power. If the huge clouds covered the sky, they started a fierce battle with the wingmakers who were born to fly. The clouds obscure the sky and protect the ferry boat. Seeing this scene, Jing Yuan said these words that everyone in Shenzhou knows. These two sentences describe these soldiers who made a deal with Suiyang back then, and this is also the origin of the name of the Yunqi army. This scene I don't know how many people on the ferry boat shed tears. Even Ruan Mei, who has crazy ideas and is as cold as ice, said, how magnificent. Even people from other factions were also shocked. Haida said, obviously, as a person, Emperor Gong is much more attractive than hunting. This man is perfect. Over there at the company. Sha Jin sighed, if I were a person from Shenzhou, I would also follow this man and die without regrets. Topa said with tears in his eyes, you are not such a passionate man. Sha Jin couldn't help but smile. Di Gong's behavior was completely different from his own. It was completely a style that he didn't like. But it made people want to die with him for no reason. Silver Wolf's bubble gum stuck on his face again. So handsome, so handsome. In the game, this is the absolute protagonist template. March 7th was also stunned. Unknowingly, she actually shed tears. The screen switches again. I saw Emperor Gong, dressed in white, finally breaking out of the siege, and beside him, there were not even one Suiyang warrior left, which shows how tragic the previous battle was. Di Gong, carrying a long bow on his back, stood on the bow of the ship. His gaze seemed to see through the endless void and see where the enemy was. Then he drew his bow and knocked the arrow, just as he had done thousands of times before. But this time it was completely different, because he was blessed with the power of Emperor Sui. After devouring such strong emotions from Di Gong, Sui Huang's strength not only recovered, but even got worse. Infected by such emotions, Sui Huang tried his best to help Di Gong. Then, the long arrow pierced the void with extremely terrifying power, and the starry sky beasts that intended to devour the immortal boat were exploded by one arrow. But the imperial bow has disappeared. As a mortal, his body cannot bear such terrifying power, and he has been wiped out. Only the dumbfounded Emperor Sui was left. On the other side, the power of this arrow was 4.6 and did not disappear. It even tore the void. Endless imaginary energy surged out from it, and it actually flew directly to Janmu, splitting the miracle given by the fertile star god into two. That terrifying arrow is not over yet, it continues to fly, tearing apart the starry behemoths in the sky, and even the wingmakers' vaults are damaged. But the light arrow is still moving forward, but no one can see it anymore. Endless imaginary energy pours into it. This caused the light arrow to change. It turned into a human being, a god with an upper body like a human, a lower body like a horse in front, and a rear body like a chariot. The hunting star god was born here. Nice. Imperial bow. The whole Luofu let out deafening cheers. The cheers even shook Luofu itself in the starry sky. I don't know how many people of Shenzhou shouted the name of Emperor Gong with tears streaming down their faces. They followed this. The star god patrols the universe and has heard of this star god since he was born. It was only today that they saw the true appearance of this star god when he was still a human being. His feats were so shocking that those legends were stunned. Huo also became eclipsed, holding his tail and bursting into tears. Emperor Gong. Woohoo. Uncle Tai, I didn't expect Sui Huang to be a good person. Taili was so angry. What a fart. That human being is so treacherous and crazy. They agreed to give his body to Sui Huang in exchange, but in the end, his body exploded. Sui Huang must have been crying without tears at that time. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Cry, cry, cry. Just cry. If you keep crying like this, Uncle Tai will take away your life. Huo was frightened and cried louder. Tai was so annoyed that he had to come to comfort her. It's so annoying, and the child is even more annoying. Sooner or later, I'll take your life away from you. The other side. Li Susheng hugged Gui Nafan and cried loudly, Di Gong, you died so miserably. Gui Nafan said with a confused face, Di Gong is not dead, he has been promoted to star god. Li Susheng heard this. He hesitated for a moment, but I'm still so sad. Once you become a star god, you are no longer a human being. You will never see such a handsome Emperor Gong again. The audience at the scene was also very excited. March 7th burst into tears, and Xingmei comforted her. You cry like this, others think you are a ferry boat citizen. March 7 said, I don't know my past. Maybe I am really a ferry boat person. Emperor Gong is so tragic, don't you feel it? Xingmei, of course. This is what a man should be like. But you are a girl. Little girls should do the same. March 7th was immediately amused. Jizzy sighed. What a heroic death. Presumably when he shot that arrow, he never thought that he could still live. No, he probably blew up his body on purpose because he didn't want to leave his body to Shenzhou's great enemy. Walter looked at Jizzy's face and wanted to say something, but in the end he said nothing. As for the Galaxy Hunter, Kafka sighed. When he was a human, the hunter was so handsome. It's a pity that even before he became a god, the arrow that destroyed the world could not completely destroy Janmu. I heard that after he became a god, he came back and completely destroyed Janmu. Just the blessing of the star god is so difficult to deal with, let alone the star god. Yinlang said, don't worry, as long as you can make the enemy's health bar shine, you can always find a way to kill him. Star god is no exception. Zhen held his hands and looked at the hunting star god ascending to the gods. He also had mixed feelings. Was I wrong back then? Of course I was wrong. I am willing to pay everything for the price of this mistake. But why? Why those monsters can be resurrected again and again, so a good person like Bai Heng must die? Why? Question mark. Di Gong, can you tell me? The comments section also exploded. What a man this is. Captain of the United States. This man is so handsome. Tsunade. I think before he became a star god, he was already comparable to the gods. Thunder God Thor. Charging into battle, whether alive or dead, it's my style. Eagle Eye. You can die if you don't brag. Have you forgotten how stupid you were when you no longer had divine power? Kesha, the king of angels. Use life as bait, burn all the arrows that penetrate the stars, and be as heroic as you. Zheng Li said, a man is determined to die. Let me try my hand to mend the cracks in the sky. With one arrow, I can turn the sky upside down. In the live broadcast room, Yi Bai said, of course I don't think this is all Aha's conspiracy, it's just a joke. But this incident was obviously a conspiracy of the Wingmakers. They informed the Emperor of the immortal boat's home planet and asked them to search for the miracle of fertility. When the fairy boat was found, they drove Chongseng to snatch it. Presumably, they have not only done this to the fairy boats. There are countless civilizations in this vast galaxy that have been deceived by them and embarked on the road to find abundance. Those Wingmakers, they must have been very proud. But they never imagined that their actions would create the most terrifying enemy for themselves. As Bo Shizun said, the environment of the universe will change. When you act recklessly in the universe, corresponding trends of thought will arise in the universe. This kind of ideological trend is the soil, and a terrifying existence may be born that can destroy you. Some people say that the envoy is the representative of the star god's will in this universe. In my opinion, the star god is the embodiment of all human wills. Okay, that's about it for today's interview. Originally I was just interviewing AHA, but I couldn't help but talk so much more, so I'll give you some benefits. As long as everyone says, AHA is so shameless, in the comment area, you will all have a chance to receive a mysterious gift. So, AHA is so shameless, was posted in the comment area. Finally, the pointer of the lottery wheel landed on Chink's name. At this time, the time for the skill of, AHA is so shameless, ended, and AHA laughed proudly. Amazing, amazing, you actually have such powerful skills. But the physical 687 test is really 687 great. A group of masked fools looking at each other. Then they started laughing too. As expected of the god of music, can this kind of thing be considered fun? We have to learn this state for a lifetime. Next time I schedule a play, it will be called, The Sadomasochism of Harvest and Hunting, close double angle bracket. Yun Kijin on the side said, can we kill these idiots? In the live broadcast room. Yi Bai smiled and said, is it fun? There is something more fun. AHA laughed and said, then come on. He will never give up the pursuit of fun, no matter what the cost. Just as he said to the Void Star God, death is the most insignificant thing compared to the pursuit of happiness. Then the table for the Game of Kings appeared here. Yi Bai, AHA, and Creeper took their seats. Of course there is no suspense, Yi Bai is the king again. He said, number 7 must help number 3 build the wall wholeheartedly, and it will take 100 amber ages. No laziness, no sabotage, and execution immediately. Number 7 is naturally AHA, and number 3 is naturally Creeper. Except for AHA, Yi Bai doesn't worry about any star gods in this universe. Although Creeper said that there is no source of destiny and power, there are always traces of their actions. But this guy AHA is an exception, you never know what he can do. So, go build a wall. AHA's eyes widened and he helped Creeper build the wall and build 10 amber ages. 10 ambers, usually about 1,000 years, passed in the blink of an eye to him. But, help this stupid guy build a wall, without being lazy or causing damage. What's more important is that he knows that he can't disobey this order at all. He really got into trouble this time. You will go crazy. But don't underestimate me. Who said you can't find happiness when building a wall on a construction site? Creeper was also sweating profusely. This guy is helping me build a wall. It's a good thing if he doesn't cause trouble. Yi Bai smiled. Don't worry, he won't cause trouble this time. King Game's order is absolute. This ability has no lethality at all, but its functionality is ridiculously powerful. After saying that, Yi Bai sent Creeper back, and AHA disappeared with Creeper. This is the effect of King's game, which makes him have to follow Creeper to build the wall without losing a second. Later, Yi Bai said to the screen, dear viewers, today's interview ends here. See you next time. Finally, I would like to thank Mr. San Jin again for his generous sponsorship of this program. Then, he closed the live broadcast room. Host, Yi Bai. Activity level of this live broadcast, 100%. Activity level 90%. Reward, Magpie Bridge. A bridge can be built between two people who love each other that can span anything. Note, you must truly love each other. Received. Activity level 100%. Additional reward, telekinesis increased to level A, able to move 1,000 tons of objects. Received. Worlds that can be visited. Marvel Universe observable Naruto observable Black Robe Picket observable Death observable Genshin Impact observable 3 Body Problem observable Collapse Planet Railroad observable. Complete an interview and unlock a new world anime system. Battle of Two Cities, close double angle bracket. Already have the abilities: A-level telekinesis, space jump, truth or dare, 100% empty-handed attack, King's Game, Supreme Thousand Arts, Crazy Man and Woman, Magpie Bridge. Magpie Bridge. Yi Bai looked at this skill, ignoring its performance and focusing on its essence. There is the combo skill of Crazy Man and Hatred Woman. Isn't this a channel that can be built at will to connect different worlds? In other words, now I have the ability to help open the door to communication between the two worlds. I just don't know if I can use it now. And, Battle of Two Cities, is the anime world of League of Legends. Yes, Jinx would be a good interview subject. However, the last time I unlocked Justice League from the DC Cinematic Universe, you can go here for interviews first. Letting the audience see Superman and the Joker will definitely be very effective. Superman will definitely be compared with the people of the motherland by others. Although it is a bit contrary to Tiangong, it will definitely be fun. The audience saw the Joker first, and then Jinx must have found it interesting. The background of these two people is almost the same. Good. Yi Bai has already decided on the order of interviews. He will go to Justice League to interview Batman first. Go to Battle of Two Cities to interview Jinx. At this time, Funina said excitedly, I finally finished all the manuscripts. When you get back to Fontaine, you can directly find someone to make a version and send it out. Yi Bai gave her a thumbs up. At this time, Funina said, there is a place called Pinoconi, and they invited me to attend one of their grand gatherings. I don't know where that place is. Can I go there? After watching the interview before, she also understood how dangerous this world is, so she asked Yi Bai beforehand. Pinoconi Festival. It was simply a large werewolf killing scene. But it's not a big problem. Yi Bai said, it is said that it will take some time to start, and I will go with you then. At this time, there was a knock on the door. The door opened, and Huang Quan appeared at the door. She said, Mr. Yi, I'm here. Thank you for being willing to see me. Fu Nina looked at this woman, and she looked a little familiar inexplicably. Yi Bai said, Miss Huang Quan, I have long admired her name. Huang Quan couldn't help but be stunned. I have admired the famous name for a long time. Did I do something famous? Question mark. Did I forget it again? Seeing Huang Quan in a daze again, Yi Bai asked, I wonder what Miss Huang Quan wants to see me for. Huang Quan came back to his senses. I am a self-destructor. Nothingness is devouring my memory, but I found that as long as the memory is related to you, it is particularly vivid and I will never forget it. So I think Mr. Yi Bai, you can fight against the devouring of nothingness. Or I can find a way to fight against nothingness in you. Yi Bai was stunned for a moment. Is this so? I don't seem to have the relevant skills. He suddenly punched the palm of his hand. I understand. The Void Star God is devouring everything in this universe, so Huang Quan, who was infected by the power of the Void, has always had her memory tainted by the Void. Devoured. And he was in existence outside the universe, so the memories related to him were not swallowed up. Yi Bai said, Diaresis open corner bracket Diaresis open corner bracket I can try it for you. After saying that, Huang Quan's head suddenly felt hot, and then he felt nothing. Huang Quan was stunned. Is that it? Yi Bai said, what should we do? Talk to the Void Star God. Yi Bai's method was actually very simple. He used the technology of the Trisolaran Thought Seal, but after calculation by the star computer, Yi Bai used his mind power to modify Huang Quan's brain nerve signals. This makes her think of her own image no matter what she does in the future. Since she came from outside the universe and would not be swallowed by nothingness, she would become an anchor in the underworld, anchoring her memory. When Huang Quan heard this, he immediately got goosebumps all over his body. Others said that they asked the Void Star God to chat, which must be nonsense, but what this person said must be true. The appearance of the last king almost destroyed the immortal boat. If the Void Star God appeared, how terrible it would be. And with a being like him, he shouldn't lie to me. Qian Zhao's. She said quickly. No. That's enough. Mr. Yi Bai, how can I thank you? After Huang Quan left, the train crew came to visit. After exchanging a few words, Yi Bai said, Miss Jizzy, what do you want from me? Jizzy said, our Star Dome train has been exploring new worlds, so I really want to ask Mr. Yi Bai for advice. How to open up to other universes. If Yi Bai really had no choice before, he could take a person across the universe, but he couldn't take a star train. Now he has a magpie bridge. He said, I have a way, but do you really want to go to other universes now? Jizzy said, no need for now, as long as you know that we can do it. Thank you Mr. Yi Bai for your hard work. Then Yi Bai also met a lot of people. After finishing his work, he took Funina away and began to prepare for the next world. It is finally over. When Yi Bai left, Jing Yuan finally breathed a sigh of relief. This is simply more tiring than a battle with Bu Liren. Marshal Hua said, fortunately, nothing serious happened. With so many star gods boarding Luofu, my heart can't stand it. Are you kidding me? Those are star gods. After so many years, even Emperor Gong Siming never boarded Luofu again after becoming a god. The Immortal Boat Alliance is considered the number one force in the universe, but it is still as small as dust in front of the star god. In frontal contact, if you are not careful, you will die. Jing Yuan said. Although the host was talking about the locust plague in the universe and the past events of Emperor Gong Siming, it gave us a deeper understanding of the star god and the universe. His last words were probably to ignite Nanook, the founder of trouble. Marshal Hua nodded and said, it's very possible. According to him, Nanook and his antimatter army are ravaging the universe. The trend of thought that attempts to fight against the antimatter legion in Nanook will inevitably appear, then this trend of thought may destroy the planet that fights them. After all, the host finally said that the star god is the embodiment of human will in the universe. However, the antimatter core will not stop their march. At this time, Qing Ke came in supporting the pale Fuzan. Jing Yuan was shocked. Tai Bu, what's wrong with you? Fuzan waved his hand and said, it's okay. It's just that when 017 was in the turbulent flow of time, I tried to use the poor observation array to peek into the future, which consumed more energy. But it really made me see a lot of things. Jing Yuan was stunned. What future? Fu Xuandao. In the future of Luofu, the secret of the King of Medicine has been bewitched by the Lord of Extermination Wanyu, and brought the star core into Luofu to revive Jianmu. Wanlu wants to use building wood to shape his body. Marshal Hua and Jing Yuan immediately changed their expressions. They were confident that they could handle a single star core, and the resurrection of Lord Annihilation in Jianmu was not impossible to deal with. But when these few things are put together, it's very scary. If Huan Lu succeeds in shaping his body with Jian Mu, it will be a catastrophe no less than that of the Jehuo battle. Fortunately, I closed the net in advance and used the medicine. Win all the secret stories of the king. Fu Zan took a breath and continued, there may be some omissions. I also saw that the Ming-holding elder Go Shen colluded with the Medicine King's secret to send the Dragon King to the Medicine King's secret to secretly help the Medicine King to test the medicine. Snapped. Jing Yuan crushed the chess piece in his hand, and then apologized to Marshal Hua. The internal chaos within the Mingqi clan has been so chaotic, and I didn't notice anything. Marshal, please punish me for my dereliction of duty. Marshal Hua said. The Drinking Moon Rebellion caused such disaster, but this is not your fault alone. At this time, Fu Zan looked a little hesitant, and Jing Yuan said, Fu Teibu, it doesn't matter if you say it. He didn't believe there would be a worse situation. Fu Zan said, the previous generation of Sword's Head Mirror style entered Luofu again and colluded with others to send the Star Core to Luofu. Jing Yuan's vision went dark and he almost fell to the ground. Teacher. Have you fallen to this point? There will be so many bad things coming together in the future, Luofu. Even Marshal Hua's face turned pale. She looked at Jing Yuan and said, do you need me to stay? Jing Yuan finally stabilized his figure. Said, Marshal, I can handle it properly. Marshal Hua nodded and said, I believe you. After that, he was ready to leave. Suddenly, she turned to look at Chink and asked curiously, what is the mysterious gift you got? Everyone looked at Chink curiously. Chink was a little embarrassed. She stretched her hand forward and a card table appeared. She said, "This is it." Everyone was dumbfounded. The mysterious and powerful host gave you a mysterious gift. This is it. Chink said excitedly. This is the best gift, a poker table where no one can cheat. That guy played cards with me and beat me 763 times without losing a single round. Originally, with this brand, I wanted to fight him again, but he left, which is really disgusting. Everyone looked at each other in confusion. After a while, Jing Yuan said, "The host is really a wonderful person." At this time, Yunqi came to report, "What should we do with those masked fools? They actually said they were going to make a drama about Feng Feng and hunting sadomasochism." Yunqi, the guard, asked if he could just chop them up. Hearing this, everyone's eyes darkened. Who is this masked fool? But Jingyuan had an idea in an instant. Send them to the border, and together with their gods, help King Amber build a wall. This is such a bad idea. Then the scene burst into laughter, and the dark clouds hanging over Luofu seemed to dissipate a lot. Frontier Star. This is where the Building Materials Logistics Department of Interstellar Peace Company is located. Their job is to transport various precious building materials to the border and help Amber King build the wall. Although King Amber has never used these things. A spaceship landed on a desolate planet, and the robot began to carry building materials. At this time, several voices rang from the side. How do you put things here? Put them over there. Where is your devotion to the Amber King when robots are used to transport building materials? By the way, when did Amber King start building a wall? I have never seen it before. The employees of the Building Materials Logistics Department who had just arrived here stared blankly at this group of people, confused. At this time, someone said to them, "Those are a group of masked fools. They were caught doing trouble in Luofu, and then sent here for reform through labor. And their god is here too." The newly arrived employee looked up and saw that the huge figure of the Amber King was still clearly visible from an unknown distance away. And next to it, there was a shadow made up of countless masks. That was the Happy Star. Oh my god. He is actually helping King Amber build a wall. The host is so powerful that he can control the behavior of the star god at will. Isn't this terrible? Question mark. Come on. A group of masked fools also looked at the figures of Aha and Creeper in an unknown distance, and they couldn't help but sigh. It seems that the god of fun is really enjoying it. As expected of the god of fun, you can even have fun building walls. We can't fall behind him, let's help build the wall too. The people from the Building Materials Logistics Department looked at them and said expressionlessly, "You stay there and don't help, that's the greatest help." In the boundless deep space of the universe, Creeper cursed, "You really are you helping, not causing trouble? I said the space is folded to 37.68 million degrees, yours is only 3,768 degrees, which is a difference of 10,000 times. What I want is the core of a decaying star, not a black hole. Take it away quickly. I'm going to beat someone up. Go quickly and don't cause trouble here." Aha said aggrievedly, "I have really tried my best to help. And, I couldn't leave at all. The power of the host is far beyond your knowledge. Hunting star gods, immortal boat Luofu, cloud cavalry army. It is really a magnificent world." Ningguang put down the super-dimensional daily newspaper in his hand, which was sent here from Fontaine. The only people who can watch the super-dimensional interview in Teyvat are the 7 gods of heavenly law, the Traveler brothers and sisters, and Paimon. For these people from other universes, Ningguang was also very interested in this matter. She said to Kei Qing, "Look at this immortal boat Luofu, their clothes are similar to ours. Their culture is also compared to ours. They have been flying across the stars for thousands of years, hunting undead creatures. What kind of grace is this? I really hope Liu will have such a day in the future." Kei Qing said, "I think we can copy the story about the hunting star gods and the cloud cavalry army, and let the storytellers in the tea house tell more about it. I think it is an inspiration to Qian Yanjun. That's what we can learn from objects." Ning Guang nodded and said, "Okay. It's such a pity that I couldn't see how amazing the arrow that cut off the building wood was. There are only images, but they always lack a bit of flavor." Inazuma, Yakungtang. Ye Shenzi put down the Super Dimension Daily in his hand and praised, "Wonderful, wonderful, this is really wonderful material. Contact teacher Shen Yu. We hope he will create several light novels with the background of hunting star gods. Sumeru. This super-dimensional daily newspaper that Nahida is also reading. Although she saw the whole thing at the time, she recorded a lot of what Funina saw in Louvre. Those things are not in the live broadcast room. Yuzhao. Giving life to dead things is really something unexpected. However, the effect of the Jade Omen can be achieved completely through the void. It can be another kind of void. Therefore, the void does not need to be shut down, it only needs to change the way it is used. It does not need to borrow the dreams of all people, it can still be used. This means a lot to Sumeru. To Winter. The Queen of Solstice also put down the manual newspaper. Traveling in the starry sky and hunting for Xuan, it's so courageous. But in my opinion, the introduction of various advanced technologies of Luofu in these newspapers is the most valuable thing. What does the clown on the side want to say? Queen Jidong shook her head and said, the laws of heaven are clearer than ours. If Teyvat wants to develop, it cannot be trapped in one side. One day we need to reach for the stars. The sales of Fu Nina's super-dimensional daily newspaper are very good, and it has caused quite a stir in various countries in Teyvat. Yi Bai has been preparing for the next interview these days. This time, he went alone. After all, his brother Tan is not like Shenzhou, it is not suitable for vacation. The next moment, Yi Bai appeared directly in Gotham. Yi Bai was also a little curious about what ordinary life in Gotham was like, no matter if it was the star given by Amber King. The hammer, or the astral computer of the intellectual star god, can only exert a little power to deal with ordinary people, but there are also many ridiculously strong people in this world. However, Yi Bai is not worried, he has telepathy. The use of the microscopic world has made great progress. Without these aids, it is not much different, but it is not possible to do such a delicate job as creation. Now, he has put a layer of mental shield on himself. It can resist physical attacks such as bullets and missiles, and it can also resist unknown energy attacks, because energy is inherently a variable of matter. For example, those messy energy rays are just particles excited by different forms, although they contain powerful energy. But they are very light in weight, which is easier for Yi Bai to deal with than physical attacks. Then, Yi Bai started a new attempt. He used his mind to sense the changes in the air, which was enough to easily deal with it. Covering the entire Gotham, that is to say, he can completely control all the trends in Gotham. The more it is developed, the more Yi Bai feels that this thing is not considered telepathy at all. But it is not so outrageous. At this time, he felt something strange in front of him. Yi Bai walked in. In the alley, a man with a stocking covering his face was beating a woman on the ground. When he saw Yi Bai, the robber pointed a gun at Yi Bai. Hands on head, all the money on me. Before he finished speaking, he was horrified to find that the pistol in his hand disappeared. He watched in even greater horror as his body disappeared bit by bit as if it was being erased by an eraser. Yi Bai directly dismantled all the molecules that made up his body and made him disappear into thin air. The woman stood up in panic, not understanding what was happening, so she turned around and left in fright. Before he had walked far, Yi Bai encountered 2 more robberies and sensed 3 gunfights. It's broad daylight. It really deserves to be Gotham. Then at this moment, he felt something strange. Not far away, a demonoid emerged from somewhere. Seeing Yi Bai, he rushed towards Yi Bai directly. But the next moment, his body disappeared as if it had been erased by an eraser. Yi Bai also used his mind power to break him into molecules. To Yi Bai, demonoids are no different from ordinary people. Alas, that's almost it. There's nothing to see in this crappy place. So Yi Bai opened the live broadcast room and started his work in advance. On the other side, Steppenwolf received the last message from the demonoid. He was furious. What the hell? In the information sent back by the demonoid, there was no record of what weapon or ability he was attacked to death by. How can this be? Also, what the hell is that interview preview that suddenly appeared? In fact, people in this world have already seen the preview of Yi Bai's interview. Although it is a bit magical, after all, he is the eldest son of the Wayne family, that playboy, and it is normal for him to do any inexplicable things. Ordinary people didn't take it seriously. But Batman became nervous. He had watched the replay of Yi Bai's previous interview. If Yi Bai interviews himself, he will definitely be exposed as Batman. This can't be stopped. He accepted this reality and began to think about how he should act when his identity was exposed. Now Wonder Woman is here, discussing with Batman about finding helpers. Unexpectedly, a door of light suddenly opened, and Yi Bai appeared in front of him. The live broadcast is actually advanced. Yi Bai looked at Batman and Wonder Woman and smiled. Hello, Mr. Wayne, Ms. Diana. I am Yi Bai, the host of the Super Dimensional Talk Show. Yi Bai looked at the audience pouring into the live broadcast room again and said with a smile, hello, viewers, welcome to Gotham. This universe, the biggest crime center. Xiao Xiao. Valoran continent. Piltover, Wei looked at the live interview room in front of her and felt baffled. She has been locked up here for many years. When she first saw the trailer, she thought it was some new trick made by the rich guys in Piltover, but now it doesn't look like it. The crime center of the universe. Gotham. Have not heard. Hee hee. In my heart, only Zuan can be called this name. The other side. Jinx, who had just gone out to do some work, also saw this thing. While she was doing her handiwork, she chuckled and said, am I so crazy that I think Zuan is not the crime center in the universe? But what can be done? I am a lunatic, and the doctor has proven it. Arkham Asylum. The clown looked at the thing in front of him and whistled quickly. 010177. The crime center of the universe. No, this is just the largest mental hospital in the universe. Steppenwolf also looked into the broadcast room. Then he saw Yi Bai getting furious. This is the guy who killed the demonoids. For him, the demonoids were just consumables, and their number was almost infinite. No matter how many times he died, he wouldn't be heartbroken. But the appearance of an inexplicable guy on the earth and his use of unknown means to kill demonoids is worthy of our attention. Or you need to go and take a look in advance. The Kryptonians are dead anyway, there's nothing to worry about there. There's nothing wrong with finding the mother box in advance. Apocalypse. Darkseid is also watching this live broadcast. Earth seems to have some impression. I can't understand this inexplicable live broadcast room at all. With such power, why would you care about crime on a small planet? At the same time, live broadcasts began in all cyberspaces in Gotham. Even in places where there is no internet, projections in live broadcast rooms appear. But Gothamites don't care. After hearing this, Yi Bai commented on Gotham. Instead of getting angry, they laughed loudly. Yes. This is how we are in Gotham. So, what kind of mess does the eldest son of the Wayne family do? Do you think this will change anything? No, you can't do anything. Comments section. Happy Star God aha. Looks like an interesting place. Sympathy Star God Shipe. Are you really building a wall? Happy Star God aha. Of course, I'm working hard to help. He posted a photo of himself helping to build a wall. Creeper was silent, thinking, how about just swinging 100 hammers and driving this guy away first? So annoying. However, he did not allow himself to do this. In the comment area, except for a few scientists who were communicating about technology, most people didn't care much about the topics of crime and Gotham. Yi Bai was looking at Batman. When he made interview material before, he did Batman's Dark Trilogy, Dawn of Justice, Justice League, and even The Flash, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman together. As a result, this Batman looks like a mix of Bale and Ben. All I can say is that it is quite amazing. Yi Bai said to the screen, we have seen so many gods, high technology, interstellar wars, etc. It is time for us to turn our attention to ordinary humans again. The city I'm in is called Gotham, and the country it's in is the most powerful country in the world. They have good technology and rich materials. But Gotham has become an extremely chaotic and disorderly place for some reason. After saying that, Yi Bai projected the video of himself just now. I had not gone far outside when I encountered 3 robberies and 2 shootouts. These are just common crimes here. The name of this crime capital, it really deserves the name. But no matter how dark the place is, there are still people who yearn for justice. In these years, a crime nemesis has appeared in Gotham. Some Gothamites think he's a superhero. And some people in Gotham believe that he is just a vigilante who commits crimes in the name of justice and has no law enforcement power. He is worse than a criminal. And he is Batman. That's the Bruce Wayne next to me. Mr. Wayne, am I right? Batman nodded with a calm expression, because he was already prepared. But Gotham was different. The whole Gotham instantly exploded. Are you kidding me? That playboy Bruce Wayne is actually Batman. Absolutely impossible. Sure enough, this is what the playboy created. What are these rich guys thinking in their heads? The Flash? No way, absolutely impossible. Aquaman? That's it. It seems that the so-called Batman is just a detective game played by rich men. Joker? What have you done? I want to know who Batman is, won't you check it out yourself? Are you crazy? You exposed Batman's identity and I'm going to kill you. People who don't know the inside story may think that the two are good friends. Harley Quinn. Joker. Not everyone can be called this name. Do you know the cost of impersonating this name? Joker. Not everyone can be called Harley Quinn. Remember the first time we met, what did I say? Harley Quinn. Dr. Zequile, I live to spend the night with you. Joker. Are you really Harley? Harley Quinn. You are really Pudding. Little Pudding, oh, I can meet you here. Let's try to escape from this mental hospital first. Seeing that these two lunatics were chatting more and more enthusiastically, and even some inappropriate topics for children, Yi Bai directly silenced them. This is the first time he has been banned. At the same time, in the police station, a group of police 5.8 officers looked at their chief Gordon. Is this 5.8 real? People have already called and asked about. What do we do now? Does Bruce Wayne need to be arrested? Gordon said, of course not. Because Mr. Wayne has hired a very large team of lawyers to come to our police station. Any accusations brought against us will be refuted. Every one of those lawyers has a gold medal. No matter what the police department wants to do to Batman, even if they can't get away with it, they can delay it indefinitely. After all, the things Batman does are more serious than those who really do it in this country. Crazy rich people are really nothing too outrageous. This is Batman's first response. Since his identity is bound to be exposed, the negative consequences must be minimized. Thanks for watching, please subscribe and support our channel.